Chapter 1137. Just thinking about it is embarrassing. What did you say? The hemophiliac had been seen through by Shuamin? How did he see through it? Dr. Kong was stunned and asked incredulously. People with hemophilia were usually diagnosed after a blood test in the hospital. How could they check it on the spot? This is what happened. Kong Mingming didn't dare to hide it. He told his grandfather the details of the matter. After all, there were so many people watching. It would definitely spread. Are you saying that Guan Shuamin knew that Zhang Gongzi was a hemophiliac with just one look? Dr. Kong found it strange. Wasn't this too strange? Guan Shuamin's medical skills are that good? With just a glance he could tell what illness someone was suffering from? Wasn't this similar to the legendary Bian Ke? Yes, he saw it at a glance. Kong Mingming said. Many people here saw it. Forget it, it's not that we miscalculated, it's just that things are unpredictable. Come back first. We'll discuss how to deal a blow to Miracle Dr. Guan's injury medicine. Dr. Kong wasn't too worried about it. Anyway, the Kong family's golden creation was mainly used for military supplies. The civilian market was only a small part of it. Most of the time it was out of stock. Therefore, Dr. Kong wasn't too concerned about Guan Shuamin taking over the civilian market. Okay, Grandpa. Kong Mingming was relieved. As long as Dr. Kong didn't blame him, everything would be fine. Lin Yi saw Kong Mingming in the crowd and guessed that he was the one behind all this. However, framing one's opponent in business was a normal thing to do. As long as it didn't cross Lin Yi's bottom line, Lin Yi wouldn't do anything to him. He would only provide some help to Fatty Lai and Kong Xiaobo when necessary. The rest was up to them. Let's go. Lin Yi held Tang Yun with his left hand and Xiao Xiao with his right as they left the venue with the crowd. It's already afternoon. I wonder if Mingyao and Shu have finished shopping? Tang Yun looked at her watch and asked. They agreed to go on a road trip together at night. It should be about time. Have you told your family? Lin Yi asked. Yeah. Tang Yin felt a little embarrassed as she thought about her mother's word. Any other girl's parent would have warned her daughter to be careful when she heard that she was spending the night with a boy. But her own mother. She was telling her not to forget to buy birth control pills. Tang Yin was going crazy just thinking about it. She was still a high schooler. It wasn't uncommon to have sex at this age, but Lin Yi was in a top high school, and Tang Yin was a conservative person. How could something like that happen so early? However, Tang Yun couldn't tell her mother about this. She could only nod obediently. Lin Yi saw that Tang Yun's expression wasn't normal and asked curiously, "What's wrong? Auntie doesn't agree." No. It's nothing, she's been thinking about moving to a new house these few days. She doesn't have time to care about me, Tang Yun said randomly. Oh, Lin Yi didn't ask after seeing that Tang Yun didn't want to talk about it. Today Lin Yi drove Xiao Xiao's Land Rover. The car had been repaired, and this type of off-road vehicle was perfect for a road trip. As for the 2B945 license plate, it was found to be fake. They couldn't find the invoice for the car, but with Tianlong's help, the 4S shop made up a new one, putting Xiao Xiao's TT000 license plate on the Land Rover. Xiao Xiao, your body isn't suitable for this car. Tang Yun felt that the Land Rover was too big, and it didn't match Xiao Xiao's petite body. Ha yeah, Lin Yi honey, how about I give this car to you? I'll buy another one. Xiao Xiao felt the same way too. Her body didn't really match the car. Yesterday at school, some hooligans were teasing me, calling me a Land Rover girl. I ran into them and scared the shit out of them. When I was out, they were still playing in the mud. Lin Yi couldn't help but smile, but Xiao Xiao was right, she used to be a hooligan girl. And it was only after getting together with him that she became a lot more obedient. Wadesh Xiao Xiao's words surprised Tang Yun. She didn't expect Xiao Xiao to be this fierce. If it were her, she wouldn't dare do something like that. Lin Yi drove back to the villa with Tang Yun and Xiao Xiao. Yushu's beetle was already parked in the yard. It seemed like they'd come back from the supermarket. Lin Yi had just parked the car when Meng Yao and Yushu came out of the villa. They must have heard the car and knew that Lin Yi was back. The two were dressed very youthful and sunny, a bit like beachwear but not revealing. Lin Yi's eyes lit up. The Miss and Shu were natural beauties, no less than Tang Yun and Xiao Xiao. You guys ready? Lin Yi asked with a smile. Yeah, Yao Yao and I bought 2 carts of stuff and we didn't finish the whole thing, so we went again. Yushu said excitedly. How much stuff did you guys buy? We're only going for 1 day and 1 night, you don't need that much, do you? Linny said, shocked. It's not easy to go out and play, of course we have to prepare everything first. Yushu smiled, shield bro. Come help me move the stuff to your car, it's big, it should be able to fit everything. Linny followed Yushu to move the stuff, and Tang Yun and Xiao Xiao wanted to help as well. But the miss stopped them. Why don't you guys take a shower here and change your clothes first? We'll go in fresh clothes later. Tang Yun didn't have any good clothes, and while her family's situation had improved a lot, she didn't spend her money on luxurious clothes. She wore her school uniform every day, so there was no point in buying clothes. Today, she only wore a normal shirt and a pair of jeans for the product launch. Compared to Meng Yao, it was a lot more normal. I didn't bring a change of clothes. Tang Yun was a little tempted. It wasn't convenient to take a shower in the hospital, and while there was hot water, it wasn't her house and her parents were there. Tang Yun was a little embarrassed. Chapter 1138. Tang Yun's inferiority complex. Tang Yun couldn't accept Meng Yao's change. She had always treated Meng Yao as her rival in love, and she was always on guard against her. Even if Meng Yao got closer to her recently, she still didn't let her guard down. Tang Yun was a kind person, and she was afraid that Meng Yao had ulterior motives for being nice to her. She was afraid that she wouldn't be able to resist when they fought for Lin Yi. But Tang Yun was afraid that she was overthinking it. What if Meng Yao didn't mean it that way, and she just wanted to be friends with her? Of course not. Tang Yun shook her head. How could she reject Meng Yao when she said it like that? Lin Yi came to the beetle and saw that it was filled with all kinds of things. Some were in bags and some were in boxes. There were a lot of things. What are these? Lin Yi pointed at a bag and asked curiously. Face masks, Yushu said. Huh? Face masks? Lin Yi's eyes widened. The internet said that the wind is strong at night, so in order to protect the skin, we need to use face masks, Yushu said. Lin Yi was speechless, but he didn't say anything else. If Yushu said it was useful, then so be it. With the space of the rover, it was more than enough to store all these things. Lin Yi began to move the things out one by one, and put them into the rover's trunk. Tang Yun looked at the bathroom, the luxurious marble floor, the exquisite white bathtub, and all kinds of unknown skincare products. Tang Yun couldn't help but sigh. She thought that her new house was good enough, but when she came to the villa, she realized that her house was just ordinary. But these bottles and cans of high-end products, only a rich young miss like Meng Yao could afford them. Tang Yun couldn't help but worry. Although she was invincible now, what about in the future? In another 10 or 20 years, his skin wouldn't be as good as Meng Yao's and Shu's. They'd been taking care of their skin for a long time, and he'd lost at the starting line. However, with Tang Yun's current family situation, they couldn't afford these things. Tang Yun sighed. This was the first time she felt the importance of money. Although she didn't have money before, she didn't have such a strong feeling. The bathtub was very clean, and it was obvious that only Meng Yao and Yushu had used it before. Tang Yun didn't mind since they were both clean people. It was good enough that they didn't mind her. She turned on the hot water and laid in the bathtub. She was going to university soon, and she couldn't just study like she did in high school. She had to become someone useful to Lin Yi. At the very least, she had to find a part-time job in his company. Not only could she earn some money, but she could also help Lin Yi take care of some things. Xiao Xiao had just showered in the morning. She lived alone, and it was very convenient for her to shower. She went back to the yard to help Lin Yi load the car after helping Tang Yun out. There were a lot of things, but with the four of them working together, it didn't take long to load everything onto the rover. There was a Ferrari parked not far from the villa, and Jiang Wen and Tai Zhao were sitting inside. This Lin Yi guy, he's really enjoying the life of 2 women. He's got 4 beauties by his side. Jiang Wen said sourly as he looked at the yard. Yushu's a troublemaker. It's fine if you don't want her, but if you marry her, you'll be screwed over by her. Tai Zhao comforted. You're right, that girl's too ferocious, I can't handle her. Her life might be in danger if I bring her back. Jiang Wen nodded. Right, did you buy the things you need? We'll try to impress Meng Yao when we get to the beach. I've already told Yang Ganglu to buy it. Don't worry, he's very smart. Tai Zhao said. Linny naturally saw Jangwon's Ferrari by the roadside. He found it funny. Driving a sports car to the beach? Was he sick? Could the chassis of that car even drive to the beach? But Linny wasn't that nice to remind them. Mengyao, Yushu and Xiaoxiao went back to the living room to wait for Tang Yun. Linny followed them to watch TV in the living room. Not long after he sat down, his phone came in. It was Fatty Lai. Hello? Fatty Lai, is the conference over? Linny asked. Boss, it's over. Don't worry. Fatty Lai said. It's all thanks to you seeing through Zhang Gongzi's problem. Otherwise the conference would have been in trouble. Did you find out who sent them? Linny knew who the mastermind was, but Linny didn't want to waste too much time on the company. After this, Linny planned to let Fatty Lai and Kong Xiaobo handle it. There's some clues. It's probably sent by our competitor, Dr. Kang's medical company. According to our employees, someone recognized Dr. Kang's grandson, Kong Ming, at the conference and met with Direwolf. Fatty Lai said. Then what do you want to do? Linny asked back. Boss, our current strength isn't enough for us to take revenge on Miracle Dr. Kang's medical company, and we don't have the energy to do so. What I'm saying is that we should write this down and talk about it in the future. Fatty Lai said carefully. Okay, we'll do as you say. Linny felt that Fatty Lai's idea was right. The company had just been established, and they didn't have the time to fight with competitors. If they had the time, they might as well spend it on marketing. Okay. Fatty Lai sighed in relief and smiled bitterly. Boss, there's one more thing. After the conference, the orders we received were much bigger than we expected. It's very different from what we expected. At first, we only planned to sell the goods in the province, and also in the neighboring provinces. But all the large pharmacies and hospitals in the country contacted us, preparing to place orders. I think it's the effect of the auction. Oh. Isn't that a good thing? Linny didn't expect the injury medicine to be so popular. Linny thought that the Songshan First School's poisoning incident would only affect the province, and the initial orders wouldn't be that big. It's a good thing, but first of all, our production is limited. The factory and equipment can only supply 2 to 3 provinces, and that's the initial supply. If the market responds well, the distributors will increase their orders, and our production will be severely lacking. Fatty Lai explained. Chapter 1139. Won't let you suffer. Secondly, our sales network is not good. My trading company only has corresponding trading companies in the province and neighboring provinces. My initial plan was to slowly expand outwards and steadily expand the scope of business and sales, but the current situation has exceeded our expectations. Then what should we do? Linny asked. He didn't know much about business. He could deal with competitors, but sales was a far cry. First, we need to expand our production and find a way to get loans to repair our factories, Fatty Lai said. Second, we need to expand our sales channels and set up branches in major cities. But that requires a lot of capital and management problems. If we set up multiple branches at once, the management system won't be able to keep up, and we'll end up in chaos. Oh, can't we just send the goods directly from the headquarters without setting up branches? Linny asked. Yes, but the consequences might be even more serious. Without a local branch to coordinate and supervise, there might be random price increases, random price reductions, hoarding, trading, etc. It'll have a huge impact on our company's reputation. Fatty Lai knew the consequences very well, so he was very worried. I say, Fatty Lai, you know I'm not good at business. Why are you asking me? Just tell me if you have any good suggestions. Linny didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Are you trying to scare me? My suggestion is to work with a company with a complete sales channel. But this company must be reliable and trustworthy. Otherwise, if our sales channel is in their hands, they might take over. That's not something we want to see, Fatty Lai said. All right, we'll do as you say. Linny nodded. But, boss, I haven't thought about the company yet. The business world is like a battlefield. How can there be friends forever? Fatty Lai smiled bitterly. I can't think of a suitable one at the moment. That's why I called you to discuss it, boss. Let me see? Linny smiled bitterly. Linny only knew a limited number of entrepreneurs. Other than Pengzhan, there weren't any other companies in Songshan that he was friendly with. All right, I'll think about the loan and funding first. Fatty Lie was just asking. If Linny really didn't have a solution, he'd have to use the contract to control the sales company. However, this kind of mutual suspicion of cooperation was not a long-term solution. It could not achieve the greatest win-win situation. Not long after Linny hung up, his phone rang again. Linny thought it was Fatty Lie or Kong Xiaobo, so he picked up without thinking. Hello? Miracle Dr. Lin? I'm Lu Tianyi. Lu Tianyi's deep voice came from the other side of the phone. Oh, Mr. Lu? Hello. Linny was curious why Lu Tianyi would call him at this time. Linny had a good impression of Lu Tianyi, especially when he lent money to him without hesitation. This made Linny feel that Lu Tianyi was a good person, so he recognized him as a friend. Miracle Dr. Lin, I heard that your company will be releasing a new product today. Congratulations. Lu Tianyi smiled. I've sent a small gift, a check in a red envelope to your company. Oh, thank you so much. Linny didn't expect Lu Tianyi to send a gift. Linny was a little surprised, but since Lu Tianyi was showing his goodwill, Linny didn't need to slap him in the face. He accepted it with a smile. Thank you. I wanted to come personally to congratulate you, but considering that it's a new product launch and not an opening ceremony, I didn't go. Lu Tianyi said carefully. Lu Tianli, and the old man had discussed for a long time about whether or not House Lu should send someone to attend the launch. In the end, it was Lu Jinghan who suggested not to attend, but to give a red envelope. That got the old man's approval. After all, House Lu wanted to get on Lin Yi's good side and build a long-term friendship with Lin Yi. They were planning to give House Lu's business channels to Lin Yi for free. If they showed up at the auction, it would look like they were too proactive, as if they were planning something. That wouldn't be good. After all, Lin Yi hadn't agreed to House Lu's business channels yet. From the looks of it, Lin Yi was quite happy with House Lu's red envelope. Lu Tianyi, on the other hand, let out a breath of relief. It's good that the thought is there. Lin Yi smiled. All right, Mr. Lu, I have something to ask you. Please go ahead, Miracle Dr. Lin. What's there to ask? I'll tell you everything you want to know. Lu Tianyi said quickly. It's like this. My medicine company wants to set up some branches and sales channels all over the country, but our main focus is on expanding the factory and increasing production. We don't have the time to set up sales channels. I want to find a reliable partner to be in charge of sales. Lin Yi told Lu Tianyi about Fatty Lie's suggestion. Lu Tianyi definitely had more contacts than Lin Yi. Oh, you want to find a partner to be in charge of sales channels? Lu Tianyi was surprised and happy. House Lu had the same idea. They didn't know how to ask Lin Yi, but Lin Yi made this request first. How could Lu Tianyi not be happy? Lu Tianyi quickly said after the surprise, Miracle Dr. Lin, House Lu is a business family. If you don't mind, we can let you use our channels for free, and the management side can be managed by your side. We don't participate in the decision-making, only the operations. We won't take a single cent of the profits, but you'll have to take care of the staff's expenses, huh? Mr. Lu, are you serious? Lu Tianyi's words surprised Lin Yi. Lin Yi didn't expect Lu Tianyi to recommend himself and give such a good deal. Not only did it dispel Fatty Lie's worries, House Lu didn't want a single cent of the profits. Of course, Lin Yi understood Lin Yi's intentions. House Lu probably saw his potential and wanted to use this opportunity to get on his good side. Of course I'm serious. Lu Tianyi smiled. Miracle Dr. Lin, when have I ever joked? I really want to do something for you. I, Lu Tianyi, may be a small fry in your eyes, but I, Lu Tianyi, truly see you as a friend and savior. Chapter 1140. Behind the scenes, Lu Tianyi couldn't be any more excited. That was the pill of life extension and toxin cleansing. One pill was worth 300 to 400 million. There was also the special edition injury medicine, and that was only the second of it. From what Lin Yi said, he'd be giving him other pills as well. This was a great deal. These were all priceless items that other noble houses couldn't even get their hands on, but House Lu had it all. It was worth it. His niece's suggestion was great. Being a follower was amazing. No wonder Fatty Lie was so arrogant. There were so many benefits. Miracle Dr. Lin, I won't decline then. You can use our Lu family's resources as you please. Lu Qianni took a deep breath and forced himself to be calm. He was really too happy. All right then, you contact Fatty Lai and discuss the specifics. I'm just a boss who doesn't have to do anything. I don't know much about these things. Linny smiled. As for Lu Qianni, Linny was still in the testing phase. He couldn't trust him as much as Fatty Lai, so he only gave him some benefits. If he really wanted to follow him wholeheartedly, then Linny wouldn't mind giving him more benefits. Lu Qianni hung up and let out a long sigh of relief. It seemed that Linny had a good impression of House Lu, and he was slowly accepting him. Jing Han had suggested that House Lu be under Lin Yi's wing and become Lin Yi's follower. Lu Qianni had agreed, but that was for the sake of the big picture. He couldn't accept it from a personal point of view. But now Lu Qianni truly felt that this follower was a great person. He could get those supreme grade pills right from the start. Wouldn't he be able to get even better things in the future? Big brother, why don't you take the opportunity to raise a few conditions? When Lu Qianni made the call, everyone from House Lu was listening. Tianli heard what Lu Qianni said as well. He didn't understand why Lu Qianni didn't increase the price when Linny asked for a business partner. Why did he suggest it for free? Wasn't that stupid? If the Lu family was in a hurry to find Linny to be the sales agent, then the Lu family would suffer a little loss. The problem now was that Linny took the initiative to find a business partner. Then why would the Lu family suffer a loss? Conditions? What are your conditions? Seeing that his brother was so short-sighted, Lu Qianni decided to hide Lin Yi's report and asked, pretending to be ignorant. Big brother, if our Lu family had taken the initiative to ask Lin Yi to be the sales agent, then it wouldn't be a big deal for us to suffer a little loss. But the problem now is that Lin Yi took the initiative to look for us. Why would we take the loss and not ask for anything in return? Tianli frowned. Big brother, your brain really isn't suited for business. Haha. Jinhu started laughing as he looked at his granddaughter Lu Jinghan. Jing, tell me, between your uncle and your father, who's right? Dad, uncle really isn't suited for business. Jing'an's words made Tianli smile. His daughter was still on his side. But hearing the second half of her sentence, Tianli's face changed. But Dad, your brain is only suited for pure business. What do you mean? Tianli frowned. He didn't quite understand what his daughter meant, but he knew that it wasn't anything good. Jing is right. Tianli, you're only suited for pure business. Jinhu smiled. As far as you're concerned from a business perspective, our Lu family has taken the loss this time. But from a long-term emotional investment, our Lu family has gained Lin Yi's approval. That? Tianli hesitated. He couldn't deny that his father was right, but his vision was still limited to a normal businessman, not a successful entrepreneur. Plus, I'm guessing that Lin Yi must have given us some benefits. Am I right, uncle? Jing'an's eyes turned to Lu Qianni. Haha, Jing is very smart. That's right, Lin Yi did give us some benefits. Lu Qianni smiled. He didn't expect his niece to hit the nail on the head. Big brother, Lin Yi gave us benefits? Then why didn't you say anything? Tianli paused. Big brother, what did Lin Yi promise us? Lin Yi promised us some pills every year in return, including the pill of life extension and toxin cleansing and the special edition injury medicine. Do you think House Lu got anything in return this time? Lu Qianni smiled. Pill of life extension and toxin cleansing? Just this one pill is enough for us to pay the price. And every year at that. This is so worth it. It's even better than the channel fees. Tianli smiled brightly upon hearing Lu Qianni's words. The pill of life extension and toxin cleansing was a priceless item, and House Lu could get one every year. Wasn't that too awesome? If they couldn't use it themselves, they could sell it to a noble house they were on good terms with, and that would be their bargaining chip. Tianli nodded deeply at the thought. Big brother, you're the best. Lin Yi wouldn't have agreed to our benefits if we'd taken the chance to ask for something this time. Tianli, you're actually quite a talented person in the family business. But if we want to push House Lu to the top, we still have to rely on Jing. It's just that Jing will have to get married sooner or later. Lu Qianni sighed. Boys and girls were the same for normal families, but for noble houses they placed more emphasis on boys. After all, only boys could carry on the family line, and the noble house wouldn't change its surname. Girls, on the other hand, were different after they got married. Their children would have to follow a different surname, unless they married into the family. I'm not getting married, I want to stay by Grandpa's side, Jinghan said, a little embarrassed. Girls have to get married eventually, how can they not get married? Tianli glared at his daughter. Although his daughter not getting married would maximize House Lu's benefits, watching his daughter grow old alone wasn't what a father wanted. Jinghan stuck out her tongue, revealing the weird side of a little girl. She was just a kid after all. She was good at business and she was smart too, but she was still young. She liked things that normal girls liked. I think we should let Jing be in charge of the collaboration with Lin Yi this time. Lu Qianni was afraid that his brother's mind would go haywire again. And if he offended Lin Yi, it wouldn't be worth it. Chapter 1141. Chapter 1139. Sorry. Back when Lu Jinghan helped Tianli manage the company, she was always behind the scenes. Everyone thought that it was because of Tianli, but not many people knew that it was because of Lu Jinghan. Of course, those noble houses knew about this. That's good. Tianli, be careful, don't offend Lin Yi, Zhenhu said. Jing won't show up now, but she might be useful in the future. Lu Jing'an's face reddened slightly. Her grandpa's words told her that her thoughts were seen through. Indeed, she wanted to approach Lin Yi with another identity, because she was curious about Lin Yi. She wanted to get to know him privately and see what kind of person he was. Lu Jinghan was very confused. How did this person survive until now? House Yu, House Zhao and House Pai, all three hidden noble houses were offended. And yet Lin Yi was still alive and kicking. This was the first person of the opposite sex that Lu Jinghan was curious about. Lu Jinghan was a smart girl, naturally. She wouldn't pay attention to normal people, but Lin Yi did pique her interest. Of course, this interest didn't mean that she liked Lin Yi. Jinghan was just curious about him. Tianli didn't understand what his father meant. He thought that his father wanted to use his daughter as a trump card, pushing her out at a critical moment. Lu Qianni, on the other hand, was deep in thought as he looked at his niece. She was growing up to be one of the top beauties in the noble houses. Although Lu Qianni thought of something, he didn't say anything in the end. There were some things that the old man would naturally plan. He didn't need to say anything. Sometimes the old man and Lu Jinghan understood things better than Lu Qianni. Lin Yi hung up the call with Lu Qianni. He was about to call Fatty Lai and tell him about this, but when he turned around, he saw Tang Yun walking down the stairs with only a towel wrapped around her. Yao, where are my clothes? Tang Yun was upstairs, and after taking a shower, she realized that Meng Yao and Yushu weren't there. Meng Yao didn't prepare any clothes for her to change into, and she couldn't just go through their wardrobes. She thought that Lin Yi was moving things outside, and there were only girls in the villa, so a towel wouldn't matter, but she didn't expect Lin Yi to be here as well. Tang Yun was standing on the stairs with nothing on, only a towel. From Lin Yi's angle, he could see everything under Tang Yun's body. Lin Yi couldn't help but feel his breath quicken. When he was with Tang Yun, the most intimate thing they did was to hold hands and kiss her cheeks. But now that he saw Tang Yun naked, his heart started beating faster. Tang Yun came downstairs and saw Lin Yi's weird expression. She followed his gaze and blushed. She panicked and screamed. She turned around and wanted to run upstairs, but in her haste, she stepped on the towel and dropped it. Tang Yun was in a vacuum. Lin Yi didn't know what was going on, but he didn't know what was going on. Tang Yun didn't know what was going on. Wow, Tang Yun sis is so fierce, don't tell me you want to play 5P with us? Yushu's eyes widened as she looked at Tang Yun's bare chest, and then looked at herself. She muttered to herself, and it's still not as big as mine. But it's bigger than Yao sis. Tang Yun was already embarrassed enough, and after hearing Yushu's words, she felt even more embarrassed. She wanted to bend down to pick up the towel, but the moment she bent down, her whole body froze. She was thinking that if she bent down with her back facing Lin Yi, wouldn't her butt be facing Lin Yi? Didn't that mean that he had seen everything? Thinking of this, Tang Yun was even more embarrassed, and her hand stopped picking up the towel. She wanted to rush upstairs to avoid any more embarrassment. But the more she wanted to run up, the more problems occurred in her panic. She stepped on the towel again, and her body tilted, sliding down the stairs. Adesh, Tang Yun screamed. She didn't think that she would be so unlucky slipping down again. This was bad. If she fell down, even if her bones weren't broken, her body would be bruised. Tang Yun closed her eyes and didn't dare to open them again. Everything happened in a split second. Although Lin Yi's heart was racing, he reacted the moment he saw Tang Yun fall down. He quickly ran up the stairs and caught Tang Yun. "Oh, Shield Bro is so amazing. I don't have to worry about falling down the stairs anymore." Yushu clapped. Meng Yao didn't know what to say, but Yushu was telling the truth. There was one time before Lin Yi came, when Yushu was showering upstairs when a cartoon came on. Meng Yao called her over to watch it, and Yushu didn't even wipe herself clean before running downstairs. She fell down the stairs, her butt swollen up, and she only went to school after a couple of days of lying in bed at home. Yushu's face was swollen. Tang Yun thought that she would fall down for sure, but Lin Yi caught her at the critical moment. Tang Yun was both embarrassed and happy. Embarrassed that she wasn't wearing anything, and she was still naked. Happy that Lin Yi caught her. Meng Yao and Xiao Xiao both breathed out in relief. They were about to leave, and they didn't want anything to happen to Tang Yun. Meng Yao respected Tang Yun's love for Lin Yi, as well as her generosity in accepting Xiao Xiao. She felt that it was too petty of her to be enemies with Tang Yun, and so she started to worry about Tang Yun. Xiao Xiao, on the other hand, had been extremely grateful to Tang Yun ever since she accepted her. Naturally, she didn't want anything to happen to her. Yushu, on the other hand, looked at Tang Yun in Lin Yi's arms and asked with a sly smile, "Tang Yun sis, does it feel good to have Shield Bro touch your boobs?" Ah! Tang Yun froze. She realized that Lin Yi's hand was on her chest. She struggled subconsciously, trying to get Lin Yi to let go of her. Lin Yi, on the other hand, realized that he was holding something soft in his hand. He didn't realize it in his rush. Lin Yi regretted it. He would have touched it properly if he knew this was going to happen. He didn't feel anything yet, so he had to let go. Lin Yi laughed dryly and let go, putting Tang Yun on the sofa. He said awkwardly, "I'm sorry, I didn't notice in the rush. Yao Yao, get some clothes for Tang Yun. I'll turn around first." Chapter 1142. Humbly asking for advice. "Yao Yao, where's my clothes?" Tang Yun let out a breath of relief when she saw Lin Yi turn around. She didn't mind Lin Yi looking at her, but not in a situation like this. She was naked in front of Meng Yao, Yushu, and Xiao Xiao. She'd rather die of embarrassment than let Lin Yi see her naked body. "Tang Yun sis, why are you so shy? Don't you do it with Shield Bro all the time?" Yushu didn't let it go as she giggled. Tang Yun almost died of embarrassment when she heard Yushu's words. She didn't think that she would let Yushu use it as an excuse when she was arguing with Meng Yao. Meng Yao smiled when she saw Tang Yun's face turn as red as an apple. It seemed like there really wasn't anything going on between her and Lin Yi. At the very least, their relationship was similar to hers and Shu's. With that thought, Meng Yao couldn't help but feel relieved. She scolded Shu, "Shu, don't cause trouble here. I'll tear your mouth apart if you talk nonsense again." Oh, Yushu subconsciously touched her mouth, not daring to talk nonsense anymore. She turned to Lin Yi. "Shield Bro, did you feel good touching me just now?" Tang Yun had just breathed a sigh of relief when she heard Yushu's words. She was about to stand up and get dressed with Meng Yao when she heard Yushu's words. She almost tripped and fell to the ground. Lin Yi had just let out a breath of relief when Yushu came over to ask him a question like this. He felt a little awkward. "I don't know," Lin Yi said, not in a good mood. "Then compared to mine, which one feels better?" Yushu continued. "Wah." Lin Yi's eyes went wide, shocked. Compared to hers? When did he touch her? He couldn't just say things like that. He subconsciously turned around and glanced at Tang Yun from the corner of his eye. As for Tang Yun, she heard Yushu's words and subconsciously slowed down to look at Lin Yi's direction. Their eyes met, and Tang Yun was instantly embarrassed. She hadn't put on her clothes yet, and she was standing in the living room naked. Meng Yao couldn't stand it anymore. "Shu, stop it." "Oh." Yushu finally shut her mouth, a little unwilling to give up. Tang Yun sighed in relief after she went upstairs. She patted her chest. "This day, I was scared to death. Shu is just like that. Don't take it to heart. You'll get used to it. She's not a bad person, and she likes to joke around with people. Actually, she always teases me in front of Lin Yi. Meng Yao smiled as she looked at Tang Yun's breasts. They were indeed much bigger than hers. She didn't remember Tang Yun being this big before. Meng Yao felt a little envious at the thought. I know she's not a bad person. Tang Yun nodded. She's quite cute. Meng Yao opened the wardrobe after entering the changing room. She turned to Tang Yun. You can choose any one of them. I'll go get your underwear. Aha! So many. Tang Yun felt dizzy. The wardrobe was filled with all kinds of clothes. Tang Yun never thought that a girl could have so many beautiful clothes. She was like a princess in a fairy tale. Tang Yun, what cup size bra do you wear? Underwear and underwear were the same, but the size of the bra was different. Meng Yao asked when she got the bra. I wear D cup. Tang Yun said embarrassedly. Mine is only B. You probably won't be able to wear it. Meng Yao looked at Tang Yun's breasts enviously. I don't remember you being this big before. Tang Yun blushed. She wasn't this big before, but it was barely a C. She saw that Shu's breasts were bigger. So she started drinking papaya milk every day. She also massaged her breasts, and that's how they got bigger. She was at the age of puberty, so it wasn't strange for her to get this effect so quickly. Why are they so big now? Meng Yao couldn't help but ask. I don't remember. They were this big before? Tang Yun was startled. She didn't expect Meng Yao to see through her. She felt a little embarrassed. She stuttered. I was shocked by you and Shu last time, so I drank papaya milk every day and massaged them. They really got bigger. Is this really effective? Meng Yao's heart skipped a beat. And it's effective. Tang Yun saw through Meng Yao's thoughts. She blushed. You can try. Meng Yao didn't hide it anymore. Tang Yun saw through her thoughts. Then, I'll try as well. But, why should I wear a bra now? Tang Yun was a little speechless. She couldn't just stand there naked all the time, could she? Shoes won't work either. She's at least FG. Meng Yao said hatefully. Why don't you wear the one from before? I left it in the washing machine. I'll go get it for you. Tang Yun nodded. She quickly put on her underwear. At least she wasn't completely naked. It gave her some sense of security. Meng Yao took Tang Yun's old bra back and gave it to Tang Yun. After Tang Yun put it on, she started helping Tang Yun choose her clothes. Tang Yun was very shy at first, but under Meng Yao's instigation, Tang Yun tried on the clothes one after the other. Lin Yi waited until Tang Yun went upstairs before turning around to see Yushu and Xiao Xiao tiptoeing up the stairs. He immediately stopped them. Stop messing around and sit down. Otherwise, I won't bring you guys later. Oh. Yushu wanted to go upstairs to watch the show, but Lin Yi caught her. She had to give up. Xiao Xiao was going to watch the show with Yushu anyway. It was fine if she didn't go. After a while, footsteps came from the stairs. Everyone looked up to see Tang Yun and Meng Yao coming downstairs. Tang Yun was wearing a bright yellow t-shirt that was tied up at the waist. She had on a pair of shorts, and she had a pair of sunglasses on. She did look like a beach girl. She looked pretty much the same as Meng Yao and Yushu. Lin Yi knew that Tang Yun wasn't any worse than Meng Yao and Yushu, but Lin Yi's eyes still lit up when she dressed up. What do you think, Lin Yi? Tang Yun is pretty, right? Meng Yao was a little pleased. This was her masterpiece. Chapter 1143. The car leaks. As long as they didn't fight, Lin Yi would be able to continue living in the villa peacefully. As for his relationship with the Miss and Shu, Lin Yi hadn't considered it yet. He just let it be. Lin Yi didn't know if he was still their follower and bodyguard. If he remembered correctly, Lin Yi had already resigned from Pengzhan last time, and the only reason he was staying was because of a promise he'd made to Yushu, more or less as a friend. Why are you thanking me? I have more clothes than I can wear anyways. Let's all wear them together in the future, or it'll be a waste. Meng Yao said faintly. Lin Yi smiled. The Miss was always like that. She was nice to people but she didn't care. She was helping people but she didn't care. It was quite interesting. Let's go then. I can't wait. Xiao Xiao said anxiously. Yeah, let's go. Lin Yi nodded. The five of them left the villa, and Meng Yao told General Weiwu to look after the place before locking the door. As for who should sit in the front passenger seat, the Miss Shu and Tang Yun tacitly gave it to Xiao Xiao. They knew Xiao Xiao's situation very well, and this trip was to fulfill one of Xiao Xiao's wishes, so their goal was to make Xiao Xiao happy. Even Shu didn't want to fight with her over it. Lin Yi's Rover drove in front, and Jiang Wen's Ferrari followed behind. At the back was Gong Lu's Audi Q7. They didn't avoid it, following behind as if they were really in the same car. Yao Yao, Jiang Wen's car is following us. Yushu looked behind and said to Meng Yao, I see them. Let them be. The miss frowned and didn't say anything. Linny honey, pick the dirt road later. If they drive a sports car, we'll kill them. Xiao Xiao humphed. Ha, I was just about to say it. Yushu said. Linny smiled, turned the steering wheel, and picked the worst dirt road in Songshan that led to the beach. There were very few cars on this road. Only agricultural vehicles would use this road to sell vegetables in the morning and evening. The rest of the vehicles were cargo vehicles that were not allowed to use the main road. This road was the kind that would become a road if it was used too much. There was no official maintenance, so naturally the road condition was very bad. This wasn't a problem for an off-road vehicle like the Rover, but for Jiang Wen's sports car, it was a bit of a struggle. Big brother, and why is this road so bad? I can't keep up. Tai Zhao complained to Jiang Wen as the road got more and more difficult. I'll let you drive if the road is bad. If the road is good, I'll drive it myself. Weren't you the king of Songshan's underground racetrack? Why are you dropping the ball now? Jiang Wen glared at him. Hurry up, don't lose them. This is a golden opportunity for me to hit on girls. Don't let it go to waste. Yes, Tai Zhao had no choice but to keep driving. The road was really hard, even harder for a sports car. They're still following us. Xiao Xiao was a bit surprised. How was Jiang Wen still able to keep up at this speed? That driver Tai Zhao is probably a master. He's picking the smooth roads to drive in an S shape, so he should be able to keep up for now. Lin Yi had been observing the cars behind them. Tai Zhao was barely able to keep up, but it was very hard for him. Gotcha. Tai Zhao stopped the car with a bitter look on his face. And bro, it's bad, the undercarriage scraped. I think something's broken. Ah, can't you watch your car? Did you not wear your eyes? Jiang Wen was furious when he heard that the car was broken. If the car broke down at this time, wouldn't that be cheating? It's good enough that we can drive this far on this kind of road. The undercarriage is too low. Tai Zhao smiled bitterly. Why didn't you say so earlier? What do we do now? Jiang Wen didn't really care about the car. A sports car was nothing to someone like him who made money every day. It'd be troublesome if the trip was delayed. Why don't we take Gong Lu's Q7 and let him wait for the tow truck? Tai Zhao suggested. All right, it's settled then. Jiang Wen said as he got off the car. Tai Zhao told Gang Lu about it, and naturally, Gang Lu stayed behind to wait for the tow truck, giving the Q7 to Jiang Wen and Tai Zhao. This Jeep is really different. Jiang Wen sat in the Audi Q7, feeling much more comfortable now. He'd almost died from the bumps earlier. They changed cars. Lin Yi knew that Jiang Wen wouldn't give up so easily, so he wasn't too surprised. Xiao Xiao, on the other hand, was a little disappointed. She'd wanted to mess with Jiang Wen and Tai Zhao, at least make them fall over. This was just the beginning. The road ahead was going to be tough. She didn't expect them to change cars in time. Whatever, let's just follow them. We'll mess with them later, we'll kill them. Xiao Xiao said with gritted teeth. Meng Yao suddenly realized that having an idiot like Jiang Wen following them was quite an interesting thing. At least they wouldn't be lonely on the road. Of course, the prerequisite was that Yushu and Xiao Xiao, these two devil incarnate, were there. Otherwise, she really wouldn't know how to deal with him. Songshan's beach area was divided into the beach area and the normal area. The beach area was a relatively safe area, and there were safety nets in the middle of the water, preventing the beasts from entering the swimming area. This was enough to ensure the safety of the tourists. But this area had the most people, and the water quality was the worst as well. After all, there were people bathing every day, and the water quality wasn't that great. Lin Yi planned on going to the normal beach area. There weren't many people here, and normal people wouldn't choose to swim here. After all, normal people would only run when they saw sharks, not people like Yushu and Lin Yi who wanted to catch sharks to eat. Tai Zhao drove the Audi and followed Lin Yi's Land Rover. The sky was getting darker, and Lin Yi's road was getting more and more deviated. Taizao wasn't a very brave person, and he was starting to get worried. And bro, what is this place? Why is it so dark? There aren't even any streetlights, this isn't right. I'm a little scared, Taizao said carefully as he locked the car door. Chapter 1144. Chapter 1142. Disguised Xu Jiangwen was a ruthless character, cutting out kidneys and killing people. There was nothing he wouldn't do under normal circumstances. But, did Lin Yi lead us here on purpose to trap us? Taizao was still worried. Can there be ghosts here? Ghosts my ass. Don't talk nonsense. Jiangwen glared at Taizao. Are you still sick or something? Cowardly thing, are you still wetting your bed? I'm fine now. Taizao's face reddened as he shook his head. Alright, let's follow then. Cut the bullshit. Jiangwen raged. Hurry up and follow, don't lose them. I can't. Taizao nodded and followed them. Wow, it's so quiet here, perfect for dating. Xiao Xiao was very satisfied with the current environment. The endless beach and ocean, quiet and serene. Meng Yao and Tang Yun looked at each other, smiling bitterly. Only Xiao Xiao could say something like that. Oh, Shu could too. You guys pick a place, we'll camp here tonight. Lin Yi parked the car on the beach and said to the girls, it's pretty much the same here, can we just pick a random place? Tang Yun looked out the window and realized that it was already late. The beach looked the same everywhere, so it didn't matter where they set up camp. Alright, let's do it here. Lin Yi nodded and got off the car to prepare their camping supplies. The Miss and Shu bought 2 tents from the supermarket. One tent could fit 5 people. But the Miss didn't have a real relationship with Lin Yi, so she couldn't stay in the same tent with Lin Yi. She'd lose face if she did. Tang Yun, you stay with me and Shu tonight? Let Lin Yi and Xiao Xiao stay together? Meng Yao pulled Tang Yun over and whispered. That was what they were thinking when they bought the tents. One for Lin Yi and Xiao Xiao, and the other for Tang Yun. Yes, of course. Tang Yun didn't even think about it and agreed. Although she was a little disappointed in her heart, it was the first time she came out to play. Logically speaking, she should be staying with Lin Yi, but thinking about it, she and Lin Yi still had a long way to go, there would always be opportunities. Xiao Xiao was different, she might die at any time. So Tang Yun naturally had to make her the leader. Oh, I want to live with Shield Bro too. Yushu interrupted. You live under the same roof as Lin Yi every day. What are you doing here? Go get the tent. Meng Yao glared at Shu, feeling embarrassed. Oh. Yushu turned around to get the tent ready. The 2 tents were placed quite far away from each other, and Meng Yao found it strange. Shu, why did you put the tents so far away from each other? Oh, I'm just worried that Shield Bro's tent might make weird noises at night and disturb our rest. Yushu said. Broken mouth Shu, what nonsense are you talking about? That's not what you said just now. Xiao Xiao's face went red as she glared at Yushu, flustered. You just said that you guys don't want to play poker at night and disturb us. Yeah, I don't want to disturb your XX. Yushu nodded matter-of-factly. Meng Yao and Tang Yun looked at each other, not sure if they should cry or laugh. These two really were a perfect match, working together when there were enemies, fighting each other when there weren't any. Bullshit. Xiao Xiao's face was red. I'm not bullshitting, I know exactly what you're thinking, Yushu said. How do you know? You're not a parasite in my stomach, Xiao Xiao retorted. Because we're similar, I can imitate you. I'm fake Shu, Yushu said. Then I know you want to do XX with Lin Yi too. That's why you're thinking like that. Xiao Xiao said. Yeah, that's what I wanted to do. I want to play 3P too. Yushu said. Alright then, I want to do it too. Xiao Xiao said. Why don't you come tonight and play 3P with us? Meng Yao and Tang Yun saw that the two were getting more and more out of control, and quickly stopped them from continuing. Shoo! Xiao Xiao! The two yelled at each of them. Can't you guys be more serious? Don't study these random things? Meng Yao didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Yeah, Lin Yi's starting a fire over there, let's help him out. Tang Yun said. There was no need to start a fire in the summer. But Lin Yi wanted to make dinner more festive, so he made a campfire dinner. Jiangwen and Taizao drove the car to the beach as well, finding a place not far from Lin Yi's group. They wanted to join in the fun with Meng Yao, but they were afraid that Meng Yao wouldn't be willing. They had to think of a roundabout way to get closer. And bro, this place is too secluded, it's a little scary. Taizao parked the car and didn't want to get off. Can't you be a little more mature? What's so scary about this beach? There's no sea monsters. Jiang Wen got off the car, not thinking much of it. Lin Yi's starting a fire over there, we need to show our skills as well. Get the cooking equipment Gang Lu bought. We'll cook something delicious and attract Ming Yao here with the smell. Oh! Taizao got out of the car unwillingly, shivering as the cold sea breeze hit him. The two of them opened the trunk of the Audi Q7. Sure enough, in the trunk, there was a barbecue stove used for picnics, as well as some ready-made lamb skewers, rib skewers, chicken wing skewers, vegetable skewers, and so on. Ha, this young Gang Lu really knows how to do things. A beach is the best place to have a barbecue party. Jiang Wen was overjoyed as he looked at the things in the trunk. If it was something else, he really didn't know how to cook. After all, he didn't learn any cooking skills. But barbecue, especially when it came to these ready-made things, it was easy. Who didn't know how to barbecue? And bro, should we barbecue now? Taizao moved the barbecue stove out of the car and placed it on the beach, lighting it up with the headlights. The headlights calmed Taizao down a little. After all, this beach was in the middle of nowhere, and it made his heart skip a beat. Yeah, let's do it here. Hurry up and start the fire, I'm starving. I've been watching Meng Yao's house all day, and I haven't even eaten anything. Jiang Wen said. Okay, let me look at the manual first, how to use it. Taizao said. Chapter 11:45. We want to eat seafood. Who still lights a fire these days? Isn't that something only primitive people do? It's all electric grills now. Taizao said gleefully. Look at Lin Yi starting a fire over there like an idiot. It's not environmentally friendly at all, and it's easy to burn himself. Fuck you, idiot, there's no electricity in the middle of nowhere. You didn't buy one that plugs in, did you? Jiang Wen panicked a little. Gang Lu shouldn't have made such a stupid mistake. Taizao started sweating at Jiang Wen's words. Yeah, there was no electricity in the middle of nowhere. Was this a joke? Then what's going on? Don't tell me it doesn't need to be plugged in. Jiang Wen was pissed. And bro, this is solar-powered, you don't have to use electricity. Taizao said as he flipped open the manual. I told you that Gonglo's a smart guy. He wouldn't make a stupid mistake like that. Sun my ass, where's the sun? Why don't you ask him to buy one that's powered by the moon? Jiang Wen was even more pissed. What the hell was this solar-powered? And bro, calm down. I'll call Gang Lu right now and see what's going on. Taizao wiped the cold sweat off his forehead. What the hell was with this Gang Lu? Why did he buy such a stupid thing? Ask him then. Jiang Wen waved his hand, troubled. Gang Lu, what's wrong with you? Why did you buy a solar-powered grill? Where's the sun at night? What do you expect bro and I to do with it? Taizao scolded Gang Lu right to his face. Taizao bro, this is the latest high-tech product, an upgraded version of the 3-in-1. It's the best-selling model right now. Gang Lu said, a little wronged. Not only can it be powered by the sun, but you can also do it by hand, and you can connect it to the cigarette lighter in the car. Is that so? Why didn't you say so earlier? You scared me. Taizao breathed out in relief upon hearing that it could be powered by hand in a car. How's bro's sports car? I'm in the workshop, I'm repairing it. Yang Gang Lu said. Alright, you can repair it first. I'm going to barbecue with Big Brother, and Taizao hung up the phone and turned to Jiang Wen. And bro, this grill isn't just solar-powered. You can also use your hands to start the grill and get electricity from the cigarette lighter. I see I've wronged Gang Lu then. This is good stuff. Hurry up and put it in the car, I'm going to barbecue. Jiang Wen was delighted. Sure enough, after the barbecue grill was inserted into the car, it heated up and even shone with a colorful light. It was very beautiful. Taizao put the meat skewers and chicken wings on the grill and started grilling them, filling the air with the aroma of barbecue. You roast it first, I'll go get Meng Yao and the others. With that, Jiang Wen walked over to Lin Yi's side and turned to Meng Yao, who was going to help Lin Yi. Yao Yao, you guys are here too? We're having a barbecue over there. Do you want to join us? What do you like to eat? I'll get Taizao to make some for you? Meng Yao frowned. She'd thought that Jiang Wen would wait a while before coming to talk to them, but Jiang Wen came right after they'd settled down. We've prepared our own food, you guys eat yourself, thanks for the offer. Meng Yao said indifferently. Haha, it's fine, it's just the two of us. We've prepared a lot of food, lamb skewers, pork skewers, vegetable skewers, chicken wing skewers. Jiang Wen said excitedly. Yao Yao and I want to eat seafood. Yushu interrupted Jiang Wen's words. Ah, seafood? Jiang Wen paused. He'd looked at the meat skewers in the car, they were basically all beef, lamb, chicken and the like, there wasn't any seafood. It's so nice to have a barbecue party at the beach. Why do we have to eat seafood? Of course we have to eat seafood at the beach. That's the mood, right? Eating seafood with the sea breeze is the best. You can eat barbecue anywhere. We can even have a barbecue party in our yard. Get out of the way, if you don't have seafood, don't stay here. Yushu's words stopped Jiang Wen. But, there's no seafood here? Jiang Wen said bitterly. Isn't there seafood everywhere in the sea? What a joke. Yushu pointed at the sea. I see. You guys wait. Jiang Wen couldn't do anything else, so he gave up and ran back to Taizao to think of something. Jiang Wen felt that he'd made a mistake. He should have asked Meng Yao what they wanted to eat when he went to her house, but it was too late now. Shu, you're so bad. You're not telling him to go fishing for seafood, are you? Meng Yao couldn't help but laugh. Wasn't this just torturing him? I'm not asking him to. If he wants to understand it that way, then so be it. Yushu shook her head with a serious face. Meng Yao shook her head. With Jiang Wen's personality, he'd probably send Taizao out to fish for seafood. But what could he do in the middle of the night? As expected, Jiang Wen and Taizao went back to discuss and decided to go fishing for seafood. Mutton skewers and chicken wings were delicious, but Meng Yao didn't like them. Jiang Wen's main purpose for coming to the beach was to attract Meng Yao's attention and get on her good side. Now that Meng Yao wanted to eat seafood, of course he'd have to find a way to satisfy her request. Drive the car to the beach and shine the headlights on. We'll go fishing for seafood. Jiang Wen gritted his teeth. All right. Taizao of course did whatever Jiang Wen said. He didn't really want to go fishing for seafood in the middle of the night, but he couldn't fall behind since Jiang Wen was doing it himself. Jiang Wen and Taizao changed into swimming trunks and dove into the sea under the light of the headlights. But where were they supposed to get seafood in the dark? Not to mention at night, even during the day, it would be difficult to catch any seafood. If he wanted to get seafood, he had to go deeper into the sea, but the sea was dark and quiet at night. Jiang Wen might be brave, but he didn't dare go too deep into the sea. If he wasn't careful, he'd be looking for death. This wasn't a swimming area, it was a danger zone. Who knew what dangers lurked under the sea? Chapter 1146. You went yourself and bro, how's it going over there? Taizao had been searching around for a long time, and not only did he not get much, he even cut his foot. He didn't know what he stepped on, but there was a cut on his foot. It's just clams and sea screws, nothing else. Jiang Wen said bitterly. This should be enough, right? I don't think we'll be able to get anything else. Taizao was freezing. It wasn't the middle of summer, and the sun wasn't that bright. The seawater was cold at night, and it didn't absorb much heat. He would have run out a long time ago if Jiang Wen wasn't there. That's true, let's just leave this for now. It's enough for the two of us. We'll give it to that troublemaker girl and Yao Yao first, I can't care about the others. Jiang Wen was a human too and he was freezing. Jiang Wen and Taizao got out of the water and realized that their harvest was pretty good. The two of them had gathered enough to make a bowl of seafood soup. And so, Jiang Wen happily went to Meng Yao with a bowl of seafood. Yao Yao, I just got a lot of seafood, it's all fresh from the sea, Jiang Wen said as he put the seafood in front of Meng Yao and Yushu. But Yushu spoke up before Meng Yao could. What kind of seafood is this? It's just a bunch of clams and seashells, how are we supposed to eat them? This is all we have now. This is all we can get from the sea. Jiang Wen grumbled to himself. It took a lot of effort to get these shitty clams and conchas out. It was already good enough that they could get this much at night. Oh, you guys eat it yourself, we have big seafood, we don't need you. With that, Yushu pulled out a styrofoam box from the trunk of the car. She opened it to reveal all sorts of seafood inside. Everything you could think of. Wah! Jiang Wen's eyes went wide. Who says we have to go to the sea to eat seafood? You went there yourself, I didn't ask you to. Yushu rolled her eyes as she looked at Jiangwen in disdain. I. Jiangwen really wanted to scream. He'd been tricked again. But he couldn't do anything about it. What did it have to do with Yushu? The other party didn't even ask him to fish for it. He was thinking too much. Shield bro, let's barbecue seafood. Yushu ignored Jiangwen and happily brought a box of seafood to Lin Yi's fireplace. Lin Yi had already set up the grill and was ready to start cooking. Jiangwen stomped his feet angrily and went back with a small plate of sea snails and clams. Big brother, and why are you back? What did Mengyao think? Are you touched that we went fishing for seafood in the middle of the night? Taizao was quite far away and didn't hear the conversation. Touched my ass. Jiangwen wasn't angry anymore, but Taizao brought it up again. They have seafood in boxes from the supermarket. Why would we go fish for them? Idiots. Then why didn't they say anything? Taizao blinked. He almost froze to death for nothing. Man, it's my fault for not asking. Jiangwen knew that Yushu was hiding it on purpose, but it was also his fault for not asking in detail. He'd been tricked twice already. If he'd asked Mengyao what they wanted to eat, he'd have gone to the supermarket and bought it. If he'd asked if they had seafood, he wouldn't have gone fishing for it. Then, and bro, what do we do now? Taizao asked. Eat it ourselves. Jiangwen said, troubled. We'll be fishing for nothing. Lin Yi started roasting the seafood over the fire, and the aroma wafted into Jiangwen and Taizao's nostrils, making them drool even more. We'll do it too. Jiangwen gritted his teeth. Don't we have lamb skewers and chicken wings? It's not any worse than theirs. That's right, I'll go prepare it now. Taizao quickly went to prepare, but tragically realized that the car's battery was out of battery. He'd used the headlights to go fishing for seafood, but forgot to turn the car on and used too much power. And bro, it's bad. The battery is dead. Su Taichen cried out bitterly as he tried to drive the car for a while. Huh? Out of battery? What's wrong with you? Can't you do anything? Jiangwen said furiously. I forgot to turn the engine on. Taizao said carefully. Forget it. Jiangwen wanted to yell at him, but he was too hungry right now. He didn't have the strength to do so. Doesn't this technology support manual power generation? Go do it yourself. Me? Taizao looked at the grill, realizing that it was a manual one. In other words, he'd have to use his hands to keep cooking the food. Wouldn't he die of exhaustion if he waited for the food to be cooked? Bullshit, who else would it be if it wasn't you? Jiangwen glared at him. Hurry up, don't waste time. It's just a joystick, right? Just think of it as hitting a plane. Taizao had no choice but to go over and start shaking the joystick quickly. As expected, heat came from the grill and a rainbow light flashed. Taizao couldn't help but get angry. Which idiot invented this? Working so hard to generate this little electricity, can't they use it in the right place? How much sweat did they waste on this? Stop wasting time, shake it, Jiangwen said as he flipped the skewers on the grill. On the other hand, Lin Yi was already enjoying the delicious seafood barbecue. How romantic, I didn't think that I'd have this day too. Xiao Xiao murmured as she looked at the sizzling seafood on the fire. She thought that she'd never have friendship or love in her life, but all of a sudden, she had it all. Xiao Xiao's friends were all from racing, not the kind that she could really trust. There was no way she'd go camping with them, and who knew what they were thinking. The oysters are done. Lin Yi took a couple of oysters off the grill and put them on a plate for Yushu. You guys eat first. Oh, it's ready. Yushu happily brought the plate to Mengyao, Xiao Xiao, and Tang Yun, putting it on the beach. I'll go get some drinks. Chapter 1147. Chapter 1145. Xiao Xiao's misunderstanding. Xiao Xiao regretted that she was a step too late, letting Tang Yun get to it first. Man, she was such a failure as a small wife. But she didn't want to be outdone. She followed Yushu to the car to get the drinks for Lin Yi. But the moment they got to the car, Yushu tossed the drinks into Xiao Xiao's hands, leaving only one. Here, take it. Xiao Xiao blinked, but Yushu was already running towards Lin Yi. Yushu quickly ran to Lin Yi and waited for Tang Yun to put the oyster into Lin Yi's mouth before opening the can and passing it to Lin Yi, smiling. Shield bro, after eating the big wife's oyster. Have a sip of the small wife's drink. Cunning Shu, you're too evil. I was just about to give Lin Yi honey a drink. Xiao Xiao was furious as she hugged the drinks. She glared at Yushu. What small wife are you? You're not even certified yet. I'm the real small wife. Hehe, so what? It's your fault for being half a beat slower. Yushu didn't care. Humph. Xiao Xiao glared at Yushu, not saying anything. Alright, I'll let you have it then. Yushu thought about it and decided to give the chance to Xiao Xiao. Xiao Xiao was about to die, so what was the point of fighting with her? Meng Yao and Tang Yun looked at each other, both seeing a helpless bitter smile in each other's eyes. Xiao Xiao and Yushu were really evenly matched, and they couldn't be happy if they didn't quarrel with each other. But once they got used to it, it was fine. After all, they didn't have any bad intentions, and it was just a fight of words. They wouldn't hurt each other. After enjoying the seafood barbecue, Lin Yi put out the fire and cleaned up the trash, putting it in a bag. This was not a beach. No one collected the trash. If these things were left here, it would obviously damage the environment. As planned, Lin Yi and Xiao Xiao stayed in one tent, while Meng Yao, Yushu, and Tang Yun stayed in the other tent. The two tents weren't too far from each other, but in the silence of the seaside, if Lin Yi and Xiao Xiao were to really do something, the tent on the other side would definitely hear it. After dinner, Meng Yao and Tang Yun dragged Yushu back to their tent, leaving only Lin Yi and Xiao Xiao. Shall we go back as well? The atmosphere was a little ambiguous and awkward. Lin Yi hesitated for a moment before asking. Yeah. Xiao Xiao nodded, blushing. She was starting to get a little scared again. Was the legendary event really going to happen tonight? Xiao Xiao was looking forward to it, but she was also a little shy. Since she had decided to be with Lin Yi, Xiao Xiao naturally treated Lin Yi as her first and last man, the only man in her life. Xiao Xiao's situation didn't allow her to hesitate. Once she made up her mind, she had to keep going. Other people might have the chance to break up, but Xiao Xiao didn't have the time. No one in her mother's family could escape the curse of fate. It had been like this for generations, and Xiao Xiao didn't think she'd be able to escape this at all. So, she had to be very, very careful when it came to choosing a partner. Once she made up her mind, there was no room for regret. Even so, being alone with Lin Yi in the tent, Xiao Xiao couldn't help but feel a little reserved. She might seem bold, but most girls would be hesitant and shy when it came to something like this. What's wrong? Lin Yi noticed that something was wrong with Xiao Xiao, too. She was acting like a punching bag as she followed him around. This wasn't the same Xiao Xiao from before, was it? It's nothing. Xiao Xiao was struggling in the depths of her heart. She kept asking herself, did she like Lin Yi or not? Was she with him because she wanted revenge? Or had she really fallen in love with him? Xiao Xiao didn't have that much of a dilemma at first. From her perspective, it didn't matter if she was messing with Lin Yi, or if she loved Lin Yi. As long as she slept with him, he'd care for her more, and he'd be even sadder when she died. But now that things had come to this, Xiao Xiao couldn't help but hesitate. After all, for every girl, the first time was very precious. Xiao Xiao's thoughts were just thoughts, but if she really did it, it'd be different. Ha! What, you're afraid I'll eat you up? Lin Yi joked, seeing the awkward atmosphere. But the listener didn't mean what he said. It was just a normal joke, and there wasn't much meaning behind it. But in Xiao Xiao's ears, it was full of different meanings. Normally, I'll eat you up wasn't a big deal, but the meaning behind it was a little ambiguous. If you really had to explain it, you could split it into 3 types. First, I'm hungry and I want to eat you up. This was the original meaning. This kind of situation often occurs between 2 ferocious animals, one high and one low. For example, a tiger says to a goat, I want to eat you. Second, I'm not hungry, but I hate you, and I want to eat you up to vent my hatred. This was the extended meaning. This usually happened between 2 enemies, like 2 people fighting, and one said, I want to eat you up. Third, I want to push you down. This was the popular meaning. It was also used a lot on the internet and in reality. This usually happened between couples, and the guy saw the girl's pretty face and wanted to push her down, but he couldn't say it out loud, so he subtly said, I want to eat you up. Or maybe the girl was in a very emotional situation and wanted to give herself to the boyfriend, but was too embarrassed to say it out loud, so she said, "Eat me up." The first and second didn't seem very suitable in the current situation. And Linny and Xiao Xiao were a couple, so naturally, Xiao Xiao thought of the third meaning, and her face turned red. Xiao Xiao didn't know what to say. Looking at Xiao Xiao's face, Linny paused, realizing that his words had been misunderstood. But in all honesty, Linny really didn't mean it that way. Linny was just joking, saying, "I'm not a tiger. Are you afraid I'll eat you up?" Chapter 1148. Chapter 1146, Lin Yi's Worries. Yeah. Xiao Xiao nodded and went into the tent with Lin Yi. Originally, the atmosphere between the two of them outside was ambiguous and awkward enough. But now that they were inside the tent, it was even more uncomfortable. It wasn't that Lin Yi and Xiao Xiao didn't have the chance to be alone in a room before. In fact, Xiao Xiao had been honest with him. But Lin Yi and Xiao Xiao didn't have anything to do with each other back then. At most they were classmates or deskmates. But now they were a couple. This couple, although there were elements of pretense and revenge, no matter what happened in the beginning, now that the two of them had feelings for each other, the situation had become completely different. "Xiao Xiao, do you feel uncomfortable after eating seafood today?" Linny broke the awkwardness between the two and changed the topic. Of course, this was what Linny was worried about as well. After all, Xiao Xiao's sickness last time was caused by eating too much seafood. "It's alright, I don't feel too uncomfortable. I didn't eat too much this time." Xiao Xiao didn't expect Linny to care for her this much. She felt warm in her heart. Now that Linny was treating her so well, could she still take revenge on him? Xiao Xiao's heart melted, but at the same time, she became even more fearful. She was afraid that her death would bring trouble to Lin Yi. At this moment, Xiao Xiao had the urge to confess to Lin Yi, but she couldn't bring herself to say it. "That's good. If you feel uncomfortable, tell me so I can deal with it," Lin Yi said. "Okay." Xiao Xiao nodded. She wasn't as nervous as before. "Then let's rest early, we still have to go watch the sunrise tomorrow morning," Lin Yi said to Xiao Xiao. "Should I turn off the lights? The lights in the tent are charged. I'm afraid they'll run out." Okay. "Ah, he's going to sleep now?" Xiao Xiao blinked. Lin Yi was going to sleep? She looked at Lin Yi with some uncertainty. Was Lin Yi resting, or was he doing something that couples should do after turning off the lights? "The sun rises very early at the seaside. If we don't get some rest, we won't be able to get up tomorrow morning," Lin Yi said. Oh, Xiao Xiao couldn't tell from Lin Yi's words what Lin Yi really meant, so she just nodded. Lin Yi casually turned off the tent's light. At this moment, the tent was instantly plunged into darkness. "Sleep early, good night," Lin Yi said to Xiao Xiao as he laid down. Xiao Xiao paused. She didn't think that when he said he was going to sleep, he really meant sleep. Looking at Lin Yi, it didn't seem like he had any intentions of taking off his jacket, nor did he want to get closer to her. This made Xiao Xiao feel a little uncomfortable. She opened her eyes and looked at Lin Yi, who was lying on his back. Lin Yi was lying on his back. The two of them were lying so close together, and Xiao Xiao should have been very nervous and excited. But she didn't feel that way at all, because she felt that Lin Yi didn't seem to have any intentions of going any further. She waited for a while, but Lin Yi didn't react at all. Xiao Xiao cursed Lin Yi for being a blockhead. A man and a woman alone in a tent, didn't he have any thoughts at all? She was a girl and she already had thoughts, why didn't he? Honey, are you asleep?" Xiao Xiao couldn't help but ask. "Not yet." Lin Yi smiled bitterly as he opened his eyes. In actuality, Lin Yi wasn't Luxiaoyi. Lin Yi didn't have the unruffled heart art to protect himself. But Lin Yi had an extraordinary willpower. Lin Yi had feelings for Xiao Xiao, there was no doubt about that. But before he figured out how to deal with Xiao Xiao, Lin Yi didn't have the mood to do anything else with her. The more he interacted with Xiao Xiao, the more he realized that he'd developed an unforgettable feeling for this girl. But the more it was like this, the more worried Lin Yi felt. He didn't want Xiao Xiao to die, but there was nothing he could do. People called him Miracle Dr. Lin, and he had the art of dragon mastery, but he still couldn't do anything about Xiao Xiao's illness. This was the tragedy of being a miracle doctor, right? There were quite a lot of cases like this, treating people their whole lives but not the people around them. Then, let's talk? I can't sleep. Xiao Xiao didn't feel sleepy at all. Linny was right beside her, and she was excited and nervous. She didn't want to sleep at all. Talk about what? Linny turned his head around. He couldn't see Xiao Xiao's expression in the dark, but her bright eyes were clear. Linny's heart moved a little. There was love, there was pity, and most of all there was unwillingness. Linny wanted to save Xiao Xiao's life, but there was nothing he could do. Can you tell me? What happened between you and my dad? You were my dad's colleague? Then now you... Xiao Xiao had always been curious about how Lin Yi and her father knew each other. Xiao Xiao didn't know everything about her father's job, but she knew a thing or two. Most of the things he did were extremely dangerous, and how could Lin Yi be old friends with her father? But just from Lin Yi's strength it was possible. But Xiao Xiao was puzzled. Her father's job was for life, so how did Lin Yi become a student? And even if Lin Yi could change jobs, how old was Lin Yi? How could he be her father's colleague? All these questions filled Xiao Xiao's heart with questions. Haha, there's nothing much to say. I'm not on your father's side. I joined as an external helper, so I'm more free and relaxed. Lin Yi shrugged with a smile. That's all I can say. Some things are confidential, I'm sure you understand. Oh, I see. Xiao Xiao was a little disappointed, but it wasn't her place to ask more. Jiang Wen and Tai Zhao's tent. Tai Zhao was using binoculars to keep an eye on Meng Yao and Lin Yi's tents. Jiang Wen had been monitoring them, but after a while, he felt that it was too boring, and he couldn't hear what they were talking about, so he gave it to Tai Zhao. Chapter 1149. Chapter 1147 plan begins. Oh? So you're saying that Lin Yi and Yao Yao have nothing to do with each other? Jiang Wen was overjoyed. That should be the case. Their tent can fit 5 people, and if Lin Yi really has something to do with them, why would he go out alone with Xiao Xiao? Tai Zhao analyzed. That makes sense. Does that mean that my chances are quite high? That Meng Yao doesn't like Lin Yi at all, and she's just using him as a shield? Jiang Wen thought about it and slapped his thigh. That's right, I finally understand why that Yushu girl calls Lin Yi shield bro. She's definitely using Lin Yi as a shield, and it has nothing to do with Lin Yi at all. And bro, you're a godly man coming up with such a brilliant theory. You could be a detective, you're the famous detective Anermos. Tai Zhao felt that Jiang Wen's words made sense. I knew it, no matter how strong Pingzhan is, there's no way he'd marry his daughter off to Lin Yi when Lin Yi already has a girlfriend. What's wrong with that? It'd be fine if Lin Yi was some rich kid, but he's just a bodyguard. What's so great about that? Great. Today's trip was really not in vain. I believe that as long as I keep working hard, I'll win Meng Yao's heart for sure. Jiang Wen was filled with fighting spirit. Let's start our plan A. Plan A? Now. Tai Zhao paused. But the executor of the plan, Gang Lu, isn't here? He's not here, but you are, right? Don't you know how to execute the plan? The 3 of us came up with this plan, so you take over. Jiang Wen ordered with a frown. But it's so dark. I'm a little scared by myself. Tai Zhao looked out of the tent and saw that it was pitch black outside. Other than the moonlight, there wasn't a single light to be seen. It was a scary sight on this empty beach. Are you kidding me? You're pretending to be a ghost. People are afraid of you, okay? You're still afraid? What do you have to be afraid of? People run when they see you. Jiang Wen said hatefully. Why are you such a coward? This alright. Tai Zhao had no choice but to nod. Gang Lu wasn't here, so he couldn't just let Jiang Wen pretend to be a ghost, could he? In the plan, Jiang Wen was supposed to catch the ghost and play the role of a hero rescuing a damsel in distress. Who was going to save the damsel in distress if he was the one pretending to be the ghost? With that in mind, Tai Zhao tiptoed out of the tent and went to the trunk of the car to prepare it. Meng Yao, Yushu, and Tang Yan's tent. The 3 girls were putting on face masks, and it was Tang Yan's first time enjoying something like this. She was looking forward to it. She'd never put on a face mask before, and her family's financial situation didn't allow her to buy such luxuries. Feels so weird. Tang Yun touched her face that was covered by the mask and said curiously, It's not fair. You've never used a facial mask before. Why is your skin so good? Yao Yao sis and I always put on facial masks, and we're only as good as you. Yushu looked at Tang Yun's face, a little depressed as she studied the part of her neck that wasn't covered by the mask. We're young now so we can't tell. When we get older I won't be as good as you guys. Tang Yun smiled, but there was a hint of disappointment in her smile. It's not too late now. From now on you can take care of your skin with us. Your skin won't be too bad in the future, right? The miss felt the disappointment in Tang Yun's voice and quickly explained. Tang Yun sighed lightly. It's expensive, right? I can't afford it. Tang Yun was a little embarrassed when she said it, but she wasn't the type to put on airs. She didn't have money, so what if she was poor? Shield Bro is rich, and he's starting a medicine company now. He'll be a rich man in the future, and I'll have to rely on him for my livelihood. Aren't you the main wife? Why aren't you the second wife? Yushu said. It's not easy for him to earn money, right? Tang Yun knew that Linny was rich, but it wasn't something that could be changed in a short period of time. I think it's pretty easy. The miss who hadn't said anything until now finally spoke. Tang Yun was amused by the miss's words. It seems like Lin Yi's earning money is much easier than Daddy's, Meng Yao said with a serious face. How much is the total assets of Daddy's company? But Lin Yi's company had hundreds of millions of cash flow at the beginning. Hundreds of millions? This concept was too far away for Tang Yun. She had never seen so much money before. It was an astronomical figure, and Tang Yun had never thought about it before. Don't mention hundreds of millions, even tens of thousands was a huge amount for Tang Yun's family. When she was with Lin Yi, she never thought about how much money he had, and it was the same now. She never thought about being greedy for Lin Yi's money. We'll see. Tang Yun shook her head. Right, Yun sis, aren't you jealous when you see Xiao Xiao and Shield Bro together? Yushu saw Xiao Xiao calling Tang Yun sis, so she followed suit. No. Tang Yun shook her head. You're so generous. Yushu looked at Tang Yun, wanting to find evidence of her lying. How can I be as generous as you? You keep saying that you want to be the second wife. Tang Yun retorted. It was just a joke. The miss was a little embarrassed, blushing. Shu and I were worried about Lin Yi's safety, that's why we said that. It's not like that. Yao Yao, why won't you admit it? Didn't you say that you like Shield Bro? Yushu was panicking. When did I say that? I said that I don't like him. Meng Yao corrected. Is that so? Did I remember it wrong? Yushu scratched her head, a little depressed. Man, then how am I going to be the second wife in the future? Tang Yun knew a thing or two about the Miss personality after spending some time with her. She knew that Meng Yao didn't mean what she said, and that she cared about face, so she didn't take it seriously. Whether or not Meng Yao had that kind of feelings for Lin Yi as Lin Yi's girlfriend, Tang Yun was the most sensitive and clear. But since the Miss didn't admit it, Tang Yun didn't need to expose it. At the very least, the Miss was showing her kindness towards her. Tang Yun didn't have anything to say about it. Chapter 1150. Who's scaring who? Although Lin Yi had expressed his feelings to Tang Yun more than once, Tang Yun still felt that Lin Yi was too outstanding, and she didn't feel comfortable with him. Especially when she couldn't help Lin Yi at all. She felt that she was just a vase, pretty but useless. Let's not talk about that. Meng Yao shook her head. It's already the 1st of May. There's only 1 month left until the college entrance exams. Tang Yun, which university do you want to apply to? I don't know. Tang Yun shook her head. But I'll apply to whichever Lin Yi applies to. What about you guys? Meng Yao pursed her lips. Naturally, she wanted to be in the same university as Lin Yi. But she'd said that she didn't like Lin Yi. If she didn't like him, why bother? Why don't we all apply to the same university? We're all good friends, we can take care of each other? Tang Yun's heart ached a little. As expected, Meng Yao did have feelings for Lin Yi. But Tang Yun wasn't the type of person who liked to use underhanded methods to deal with her rival. She wanted to do it openly, and so she took the initiative to invite Meng Yao. Yeah, that's fine. I don't have many friends. Other than Shu, it's you and Lin Yi. Meng Yao nodded. What do you guys think Lin Yi and Xiao Xiao are doing right now? Yushu asked suddenly. How would we know? The miss frowned. Meng Yao didn't feel comfortable with Lin Yi doing that kind of thing with another girl. Xiao Xiao was dying, but she still felt conflicted. Of course, it was just conflicted logically. She supported Xiao Xiao and Lin Yi being together. Oh, then do you guys need Shu to help you scout around and see what they're doing? Yushu suggested as she looked outside the tent. You can go if you want to, we didn't send you. Meng Yao wanted to know what Xiao Xiao and Lin Yi were doing after Yushu said that. But she didn't want to say it out loud. I don't know. I'm not participating. Tang Yun shook her head. Oh, then I'll be right back. Yushu couldn't wait any longer. With her personality, she wouldn't be Yushu if she didn't sneak a peek. Meng Yao and Tang Yun looked at each other. Tang Yun was the one who cared about Lin Yi the most, but since she already knew what they were going to do, and she accepted it in her heart, it didn't matter whether she went or not. Meng Yao, on the other hand, couldn't join in the fun with Yushu. Wouldn't that show that she cared about Lin Yi? I don't care about him at all. Yushu tiptoed out of the tent, sneaking towards Lin Yi's tent. Tai Zhao put on a black raincoat and rubber gloves as he walked in the direction of Meng Yao's tent, his heart pounding. Jiang Wen was already prepared, ready to fly to Meng Yao's rescue the moment she screamed. As far as he was concerned, Lin Yi and Feng Xiaoxiao must be doing something indecent, and if Meng Yao were to call for help now, he wouldn't have the time to be distracted, and the responsibility of saving the damsel in distress would fall onto his shoulders. Tai Zhao was very scared. He was pretending to be a ghost, but he was more afraid of running into a ghost. He was just a fake ghost, and he knew that it would be bad if he ran into a real ghost in this dark place. Spirits of the heavens, spirits of the earth, please don't let me run into a ghost. Tai Zhao chanted as he walked forward. Yushu saw a black shadow sneaking out of Jiang Wen's tent the moment she came out. She didn't know what it was trying to do. And so, Yushu wasn't in a rush to go check on Lin Yi and Xiao Xiao. She laid down on the beach and pretended to be a beach, wanting to see what the shadow was up to. Tai Zhao was very scared, and he didn't dare look around. Yushu's disguise skills were very good too, and he wouldn't be able to see her if he wasn't paying attention. Is this Jiang Wen or Su Tai Zhao? What's he doing? Why is he wearing a raincoat? It's not raining, is he? Is he going to dive? Yushu mumbled to herself as she stared at Tai Zhao. Tai Zhao took one careful step at a time, glancing back from time to time, afraid that something was following him. This Gang Lu, what the hell is he up to? He's not coming, and now I'm pretending to be a ghost. Man, this is scary. Tai Zhao gritted his teeth, wanting to finish his mission as soon as possible. She saw that Tai Zhao wasn't far from her, and he was walking towards her tent. Yushu decided to interrogate this guy first. And so, she got up from the beach and ran behind Tai Zhao, patting him on the shoulder. Wah! What the hell is this? Tai Zhao's body tensed up. He'd been looking back 3 times with every step he took, and there was no one behind him at all. What could it be? It's you, right? And bro, don't scare me like that. It must be you. Tai Zhao said weakly. And bro, I'm a coward, please don't scare me like that. How am I supposed to scare Meng Yao if you scare me like that? Yushu was sure that this was Tai Zhao now, but she didn't expect him to be this cowardly. And from what Tai Zhao was saying, this guy was going to scare Yao Yao. No wonder he was wearing a raincoat, with the hood on his head and rubber gloves on his hands. He was going to pretend to be a ghost. Weren't you pretending to be a ghost? Fine, I'll pretend to be a ghost to scare you. Yushu didn't say anything, only reaching out to pat Tai Zhao's shoulder again before sticking her tongue out. And bro, what are you doing? Why aren't you saying anything? Tai Zhao turned around carefully, but his hair stood on end when he saw who it was. A ghost in white with a pale face was standing behind him with her tongue out. Yushu had a white mask on her face, and she was wearing a white nightgown with her tongue sticking out. Wasn't this exactly the same as the female ghosts in the legends? Especially under the moonlight, he couldn't see clearly at all. Tai Zhao was worried that he'd run into something unclean along the way. And now that he saw Yushu like this, he couldn't help but piss his pants. Ah! Ghost! There's a ghost! Tai Zhao screamed and started running. Chapter 1151. Ghosts are everywhere. Meng Yao and Tang Yun saw that Yushu had been gone for a long time, and there was still no news. They were worried. Although there shouldn't be any danger on the beach, what if there was an accident in the middle of the night? Although Miss Yushu scolded Shu sometimes, she still cared about her. Yun, why isn't Shu back yet? Meng Yao asked worriedly. Yeah, don't let anything happen to him. Tang Yun was also a little worried. Although she treated Meng Yao and Yushu as love rivals, they were also good friends. That was a completely different matter. If he wanted something bad to happen to them, he wouldn't have called Lin Yi to save Meng Yao. I'll go take a look, Meng Yao said after some hesitation. I'll go with you? Tang Yun also sat up. It's fine, I'll go alone. What if Shu and I get lost and she comes back first? She'll worry about us if she sees no one in the tent. Meng Yao waved her hand. That's right. I'll wait here then, you be careful. Tang Yun felt that Meng Yao's words made sense and nodded. Meng Yao pushed the tent open and walked out. She'd only taken a few steps when she saw a black figure running towards her. As he ran, he shouted, "Ghost, there's a ghost." I'm so scared. Meng Yao, on the other hand, was shocked. Meng Yao cried out subconsciously as well. Ah! Taizao didn't even dare to look back as he ran as fast as he could. How unlucky was he? He went out to pretend to be a ghost, only to run into a real one. This was bad. Was his behavior suspected of vilifying and disguising himself as a ghost? Was he discovered by the ghost, so he vented his anger on him? Taizao was panting heavily as he ran, afraid that the ghost would eat him. But as he ran, he didn't run far before he heard a horrifying scream coming from not far in front of him. Taizao raised his head subconsciously to see that the white-faced, white-robed ghost who'd been behind him a moment ago was right in front of him, blocking his way. Oh my God! Taizao was scared out of his wits. How could this ghost move so fast? Before he could even see what was going on, she had already teleported in front of him. But then again, it was normal for a ghost to be able to drift. Of course, it was faster than him. Evidently, Taizao thought that Meng Yao was the same Yushu from before. But under the moonlight, it was hard to tell who was who in the white pajamas and the white face mask. Yushu wasn't as tall as Meng Yao, but Taizao didn't have time to notice these details. He assumed that Meng Yao was the ghost from before, and his heart was filled with fear. He panicked and didn't know where he was going. There was a tent not far from him. It was Meng Yao, Yushu, and Tang Yun's tent. Taizao was energized, his body brimming with energy. He couldn't care less about scaring Meng Yao anymore. The only thing on his mind right now was to run into Meng Yao's tent as soon as possible. He was a man and he didn't care about being laughed at anymore. He'd rather hide behind the three girls. Meng Yao was stunned by Taizao's actions as well. However, she was also quite scared. A dark person suddenly appeared in the middle of the night. She didn't know what he was up to. Anyone would be scared. But Meng Yao could tell from the voice that this person was Taizao. Meng Yao wasn't scared anymore. What was there to be scared of? But the words he was saying were a little weird. Ghost? Was there a ghost? Taizao was calling for a ghost, something like that. Meng Yao subconsciously looked behind Taizao, which was in front of her. Where was the ghost? Only little Shu was happily waving at him from afar. Yushu was laughing as she ran towards Meng Yao. She was laughing so hard that she couldn't even walk properly. Shu, what kind of trick are you playing? What's going on with Taizao? Meng Yao didn't know why Taizao was running around like a madman, but her instincts told her that it had to be Shu's doing. Especially from Shu's expression, it was obvious that she was the one who did it. Why else was she laughing? Hey Yao Yao, do I look like a ghost to you? With that, Yushu stuck out her tongue. Oh, I'm a ghost. Meng Yao couldn't help but start laughing as well. She finally understood why Taizao was running away. It was because Yushu scared him. She couldn't help but say, I was wondering why he was even more afraid after seeing me. It turns out that he also thought I was a female ghost. Haha, yeah, Yao Yao, we're really good sisters. You're so cooperative. Yushu nodded with a smile. Taizao probably thought that I could teleport, so I floated right in front of him. Where's Taizao? Ah, I think he ran into our tent. Meng Yao was startled and quickly said, He won't scare Yin, will he? Oh, he ran into the tent? Then we'll have a good show. I wonder if Tang Yin sis can cooperate? Yushu's eyes lit up. Cooperate? Meng Yao blinked. Yeah, we can check it out right now. Let's see if Tang Yin sis can be sisters with us in the future and play together. Yushu nodded with a serious face. Meng Yao could sense something in Yushu's words. Shu was referring to sisters, but there was another layer of meaning behind it. Meng Yao coughed. Shu, don't talk nonsense, let's go check it out, don't scare Tang Yin. Tai Zhao finally ran into Meng Yao's tent, thinking that he was finally home safe. Then he heaved a sigh of relief and cried, well, I'm home. Tai Zhao's sudden visit gave Tang Yin a big fright. If Tai Zhao hadn't said anything, Tang Yin wouldn't have known that he was Tai Zhao. The light in the tent was dimmer than outside, and Tang Yin didn't understand why Tai Zhao would suddenly come to her tent. But where were Meng Yao and Yushu? Tang Yin stared at Tai Zhao, confused. Tai Zhao took a deep breath and raised his head, about to say something when he saw Tang Yin standing not too far from him. He froze on the spot. Chapter 1152. Chapter 1150. Unintentional coordination. Could it be that this was the legendary ghost hitting the wall? This tent was made up by the ghost, and it wasn't Meng Yao's tent at all? He had been under the ghost's control the whole time, and he never escaped? Tai Zhao paled at the thought, turning around and stumbling out of the tent in fear. He yelled as he ran towards Jiang Wen's tent. He was really scared out of his wits. Poor Tai Zhao, he had a problem with wetting his bed, and now he was pissing his pants again. Ghost! There's a ghost! Tai Zhao waved his hands as he ran. Ha 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 ha. Yushu couldn't help but laugh as she watched Tai Zhao run out of the tent. Looks like Yun sis is quite cooperative. Tai Zhao's probably scared to death, right? Yao Yao, you and Tang Yun sis are really cooperative. Meng Yao didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Xiao Xiao had always been the one messing with Yushu. But this time, she and Tang Yun had unintentionally coordinated with Shu and messed with Tai Zhao. Alright, let's go check on Tang Yun. Meng Yao shook her head helplessly as she walked towards the tent. But at this time, Tang Yun was confused by Tai Zhao's actions as well. Tai Zhao ran out of the tent, and she followed him out. Tai Zhao didn't see them, but he saw Yao Yao and Shu walking back. Yao Yao, Shu, you're back. Tang Yun let out a breath of relief. I think Tai Zhao came just now, did you guys see him? Why's he acting all weird? Did he see a ghost? Tang Yun's confusion made Yushu laugh out loud. Haha, Tang Yun sis, don't we look like ghosts? Yushu asked with a smile. We. Tang Yin paused before looking at Meng Yao and Yushu's attire, then back at herself. Shu, you're saying that Tai Zhao wouldn't think that we're ghosts, would he? Yeah, that seems to be the case. Yushu nodded. Oh my god. Tang Yin slapped her forehead. Why's he so dumb? Hee, I don't know, but thank you for cooperating with me. Yushu said. Tang Yun couldn't help but feel a bit helpless. She wasn't the type of girl who liked to mess around. Unlike Yushu, who messed with people all day long. It wasn't her hobby either. But today she unknowingly helped Yushu. However, Tang Yun didn't think that it was inappropriate. After all, it was a good thing to deepen their relationship. Tang Yun used to be very cautious, so she didn't have many friends. She only had Lu Xinwen and Xiaofan. This was similar to Miss. As a result, Tang Yun was getting along well with Chan Mingyan and Yushu. She hoped that they could continue being friends. It was a rare relationship, and as they grew older and entered society, it would be hard for them to have such a pure friendship without benefits. At this moment, Jiang Wen couldn't sit still anymore and ran out of his tent. He was waiting for Tai Zhao to act like a ghost and scare Meng Yao, so that he could go save the damsel in distress. His plan was very clever. Lin Yi and Xiao Xiao were messing around. How would he have time to care about Meng Yao and the others? This was the time for him to be a man. He'd spend the night with Meng Yao, and even if nothing happened, their relationship would improve. But Tai Zhao suddenly started yelling something like a ghost the moment he got out. Jiang Wen was quite troubled. Who would pretend to be a ghost like that? Why would a ghost yell something like that? Who would be afraid of you when you're like that? And so Jiang Wen got angrier the more he thought about it. He turned around and ran towards Meng Yao's tent. He couldn't stop complaining in his heart. This Tai Zhao really couldn't do anything right. Why was he pretending to be a ghost? It was all gone now. But he didn't get far before he saw Tai Zhao charging at him with extreme speed. pouncing on him before he could react. And bro, you scared me, there's a ghost. There's a ghost that can teleport. Taizao didn't want to let go of Jiang Wen, as if he had found his savior. He didn't want to let go at all. What are you doing? You're hugging me to death. Jiang Wen raged, wanting to push Taizao off of him. Mengyao, Yushu and Tang Yun heard the commotion and rushed over as well, wanting to see what was going on. On the other side, Linny and Xiao Xiao were alerted by the commotion as well. The two came out of their tents and ran over. And bro, you scared me. There's a ghost here. Let's go. Taizao cried. Ghost? Where's the ghost? Didn't I tell you to go pretend to be a ghost? Why aren't you pretending to be a ghost? What are you doing here? Jiang Wen roared furiously. I wanted to go pretend to be a ghost, but maybe my actions angered a real ghost and I met a real one on the way. This ghost was really scary. Her face was white, and she was wearing a white robe, and she just stuck her tongue out and whimpered. Taizao said, that ghost knew how to teleport, and she was behind me at first, but when I ran a few steps forward, she was in front of me again. She's really strong, she knows how to teleport. I didn't even see what was going on, and she was in front of me all of a sudden. What the hell are you talking about? What ghost? Jiang Wen raged at Taizao's nonsensical words. There really is. And bro, you don't know this, but I was thinking that this ghost was too strong, so I decided to hide in Mengyao's tent. Even if people laughed at me, it didn't matter. So I ran to Mengyao's tent, but guess what happened, and bro? I ran into a ghost wall again. Taizao said, panicking. There was a ghost in Mengyao's tent, and she ran into the tent again. When I entered the tent, I clearly remembered that the female ghost was outside the tent. But when I entered the tent, the female ghost was actually inside. Do you think that all of this was an illusion of the female ghost? It's too scary. Chapter 1153. Yes or no? Mengyao and Tang Yun couldn't help but laugh, but not as much as Yushu and Xiao Xiao. Ha 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 ha. Su Taizao, you're such an idiot. Yushu pointed at Taizao with a smile. Whoa, ghosts are here. Scared the hell out of you. Jiang Wen didn't expect Mengyao and the others to come as well. He looked at the clothes Mengyao, Yushu, and Tang Yun were wearing, and he realized what was going on. Did this idiot really think that Mengyao and the others were ghosts? Mengyao, Yushu, and Tang Yun were all wearing white pajamas with masks on their faces. They really did look like ghosts. Jiang Wen recognized Yushu's voice. He would have jumped if he didn't. But jumping was one thing. He couldn't let himself be scared like this. At the thought, Jiang Wen was furious. His subordinates were too much of an embarrassment, treating Mengyao and the others as ghosts. Open your eyes and look. Where are the ghosts? This is Mengyao, Yushu, and Tang Yun. Where are the ghosts? Where are the ghosts? Jiang Wen said angrily. Taizao paused and raised his head, shivering when he saw Mengyao, Tang Yun, and Yushu. Why were there 3 ghosts? And bro, aren't they ghosts? They've turned into 3 ghosts. Taizao said. What 3 ghosts? I told you they're Mengyao, Tang Yun, and Yushu. Jiang Wen explained with a frown. Taizao paused and took a closer look. And it was just as Jiang Wen said, they weren't ghosts, they were Mengyao, Yushu, and Tang Yun. But they were wearing white pajamas with masks on their faces. It was easy to mistake them as ghosts. Whoa, I'm a ghost. Yushu stuck out her tongue and turned back into her old self. Taizao breathed out in relief and let go of Jiang Wen, patting his chest. Ha, so it's Lil Sis Yao Yao and Lil Sis Shu. Haha, I was just joking with you guys. What's the point of having a long night without sleep? Oh, I understand. Yushu smiled as she looked at Taizao, but that smile was filled with disdain. Taizao, what did you do to me? What? What is this smell? Fuck me. Why is she so flirtatious? Did you pee your pants? Jiang Wen yelped abruptly as he jumped up and down, shaking off the water on his body. Whoa, Taizao bro, you're still wet your bed at this age. Yushu said mockingly, remembering the scene when they played Truth or Dare. When did I wet the bed? This was just peeing his pants. No, I didn't pee my pants. I didn't pee my pants. Taizao's face was red as he tried to explain himself. Ha 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 ha. Yushu laughed without saying anything. Alright, Shu. Let's go get some rest, it's getting late. We still have to watch the sunrise tomorrow, right? Meng Yao smelled something weird as well, and didn't want to stay here any longer. Okay. Yushu made a face at Taizao. Oh, don't dream of me tonight, okay? I'll scare you to death and you'll wet your bed again. Taizao shuddered. That was right. He better not have nightmares or he'd wet his bed again. That'd be so embarrassing. He felt a little awkward. How is that possible? I've stopped peeing my bed a long time ago. No. I've never wet my bed before. Haha, let's go. Yushu didn't say anything else and turned around with Meng Yao and Tang Yun, getting ready to leave. Shu, why didn't you call me along when you were messing with him? Xiao Xiao was a little regretful that she didn't get to see Taizao's face. Just from his own narration, it was already very interesting, not to mention witnessing the entire process. How could I disturb you when you're flirting with Shield Bro? Yushu giggled as she looked at Xiao Xiao. How far are you guys now? Can you tell me? I can't just tell you like that, it's a personal secret. Xiao Xiao shook her head mysteriously. You're not still a virgin, are you? Yushu looked Xiao Xiao up and down as she said fiercely. How is that possible? Who said I was? I'm not anymore. Are you? What, are you jealous of me? Xiao Xiao tried to defend herself, thinking that she wasn't a virgin when she said she wasn't. What could she tell? Me? Why would I be jealous of you? I've been a virgin for a long time, even longer than you. Yushu said. I'm Shield Bro's first woman. Who doesn't know how to brag? Xiao Xiao humphed. You're definitely a virgin. How else would you be able to walk so smoothly? The TV says that after the first time your legs will be stiff. Yushu shook her head. The TV says? You also know it was said on TV? So you don't have any experience at all? Weren't you a virgin a long time ago? You experienced it yourself, why would you watch the TV? Xiao Xiao retorted. I fell asleep after doing it, and I recovered the next day. It's different from yours. Yushu rolled her eyes. Meng Yao and Tang Yun shook their heads, bitter smiles on their faces. These two really were arguing over everything. This wasn't something to be proud of, and they were getting serious. That's enough. Both of you. Xiao Xiao, go back to sleep, we're not going to watch the sunrise tomorrow? Linny smiled bitterly as well, wanting to prove his innocence. How could they be so shameless? He didn't even do anything, so why weren't they? Both Xiao Xiao and Yushu blushed at the same time. They laughed dryly at each other before Xiao Xiao said, I won't be in a bit. I won't be one sooner or later. Yushu said. Linny didn't know what to say and quickly left with Xiao Xiao. The miss pulled Shu and Tang Yun back to rest as well, leaving Jiang Wen and Taizao alone. Why's this Linny so popular? Why do two girls like him? Taizao said, a little envious. Two? Would you take them if I gave them to you? You're scared out of your wits with just a face mask. Wouldn't you be scared to death if he married you? Jiang Wen humphed. This Feng Xiao Xiao is probably the same as Yushu. Be careful next time, don't fall for her tricks. Chapter 1154. Chapter 1152. Deep imprint, you're right, we can't let our guard down. Taizao nodded. Thank goodness this Xiao Xiao wasn't part of it, or I'd be in trouble. Alright, stop wasting time, go take a shower. Jiang Wen waved his hand, a little pissed off. I'm so dirty from head to toe. How old are you, still peeing your pants? Don't mention it, and bro, I'm embarrassed. Taizao blushed. If you're embarrassed, then go take a shower. What are you waiting for? Jiang Wen said as he walked towards the beach. It's not waiting for anything, and bro, it's too dark, I don't dare go. Taizao said, a little hesitant. You don't dare to go even if I go with you? What are you afraid of? Jiang Wen raged. I'm afraid of ghosts, I'm still scared of that scene just now. Taizao said weakly. What ghosts? Didn't I tell you already? There were no ghosts? Where were the ghosts? That was Meng Yao, Yushu and Tang Yun, are you stupid? Jiang Wen said. It's fine if you don't want to take a shower, but don't sleep in the tent tonight. Stay outside. Then, I'll take a shower. Taizao thought about it. Wouldn't it be scarier to stay outside the tent at night? He might as well go take a shower right now. The night passed without a word. The next morning, Linny opened his eyes. He'd been training in his dreams every day, But Linny could control the time difference very well now. Linny was still connected to the outside world in his dreams. Many people couldn't control what happened in their dreams, but Linny could. In his dreams in the Jade Space, Linny was pretty much the same as in reality. Xiao Xiao, wake up. We're going to watch the sunrise, Linny said softly as he patted the sleeping Xiao Xiao in his arms. Last night Linny and Xiao Xiao slept separately. Perhaps it was because she was being reserved, but Xiao Xiao didn't do anything bold when she came back. She might have been bold when she talked to Yushu last night, but she was a little shy when she came back. Xiao Xiao was an inexperienced girl after all. Words were words, but actions were actions. In the latter half of the night, when it was cold, Xiao Xiao naturally squeezed into Lin Yi's arms. Linny didn't push her away, hugging her until now. Oh! Xiao Xiao was sleeping soundly when Linny woke her up. She opened her eyes, still a little groggy. It's time? Are you going to make breakfast with love? Xiao Xiao stood up from Lin Yi's arms and paced around the tent, mumbling, where's the oven? Why's it gone? Linny looked at Xiao Xiao, feeling a wave of warmth in his heart. Xiao Xiao had been making breakfast with love for him every morning, evidently getting used to it. The moment the alarm went off, she'd wake up and open the oven. It wasn't easy for her to come out and relax, but she still treated this as her home. Xiao Xiao, we're at the beach. Linny got up and hugged Xiao Xiao. This was the first time Linny hugged Xiao Xiao of his own volition, and this girl's figure was deeply imprinted in his heart. Ah! Xiao Xiao rubbed her sleepy eyes, feeling a little embarrassed. I thought I was at home, I was so sleepy. Don't make breakfast with love anymore. Rest well, I feel bad for you, Linny said word by word as he looked at Xiao Xiao. Ah! Linny's love surprised Xiao Xiao, but she wasn't used to it. As far as she was concerned, Lin Yi's feelings for her might be real, but he was only with her because of the bet with Tang Yun. But now Xiao Xiao could see the deep love in Lin Yi's eyes. Linny really did love her. Xiao Xiao felt lost all of a sudden. Xiao Xiao's original intention was to make Linny fall in love with her, and then she'd dump Linny. This was revenge. Although she'd buried this thought in her heart and didn't bring it up again, her illness was real. Whether it was revenge or not, Linny would be sad the moment she left, and that wasn't something she wanted to see. Why are you so nice to me? Xiao Xiao was a little scared. This time she was blaming herself. She felt like she was playing with fire, but she couldn't stop. How could she just stop playing around with feelings? You're nice to me, so I'll be nice to you too. Love is mutual. Linny smiled. Didn't you want to watch the sunrise? It'll be out any later. Oh, Xiao Xiao replied, wondering if she should tell Linny the truth. But she was a little scared. She was scared that if she told Linny the truth, Linny would get angry and leave her. Xiao Xiao didn't want to let go of this hard-earned love either. She was conflicted. You hugged me to sleep last night? Xiao Xiao changed the topic. These headaches were getting worse the more she thought about them, so she might as well not think about them at all. Yeah. Linny nodded. You. Xiao Xiao bit her lips, her face a little red. Do you want me? Actually, we can do it now. I've thought about it. Huh? Linny blinked. I want to be your woman. Xiao Xiao didn't hesitate this time. She said it with determination. She thought that giving herself to Linny would be a form of compensation to Linny. Linny was the one who took advantage of her. She was going to die soon, but she was still a virgin. When Xiao Xiao hung out with those delinquents, weren't they always talking about it and being proud of it? They'd compare how many virgins they'd slept with, how many women they'd had, and so on. Linny's heart skipped a beat, but he kept his composure. We'll talk about this when we get back. Let's go watch the sunrise first. We might not be able to see it if we waste any more time. Yeah. Xiao Xiao nodded, blushing. She wasn't happy with Lin Yi's rejection. Linny was a good guy, but he was a little too serious sometimes. In fact, Xiao Xiao didn't know that Linny was tempted by her suggestion. But Linny wasn't that heartless. Xiao Xiao's life was in danger, and Linny didn't have time to think about stuff like that. Chapter 1155. Chapter 1153. Omnipotent Shu. Linny walked out of the tent with Xiao Xiao, and a moist sea breeze blew into their noses. It was a refreshing feeling. Linny looked at Mingyao's tent. It seemed to be quiet, so Linny didn't go disturb them. He and Xiao Xiao went to the beach and sat on the sand. It's so dark. Xiao Xiao squeezed into Lin Yi's embrace. It's the darkest time before dawn. Linny smiled and hugged Xiao Xiao tightly. Are you cold? It's okay, a little cold, but I'm not cold anymore after you hug me. Xiao Xiao smiled sweetly. Linny honey, look. There are stars in the sky. Yeah. Linny nodded, his thoughts going back to the border of a small country in Europe. He remembered that night with Yuning. That day it was also early in the morning, and the two of them sat at the edge of the cave looking at the stars in the sky. Wasn't it similar to today? It was just a blink of an eye and everything had changed. The stars were still the same, but the person beside him was Xiao Xiao. At that time Linny was confused about his future. He didn't know where he would go, and he didn't know when his days of wandering would end. He didn't dare to talk about love, and his attitude towards love was to avoid it. He couldn't give Yuning any promises, and he couldn't give her the life she wanted. She was a flower that grew up in a greenhouse, and he and she were people from two different worlds. So Linny chose to avoid it. See chapter T001-T010, Valentine's Day Special Chapter Little Ning Chapter. Although in the next few missions he found out that Yuning wasn't as weak as he thought. But Linny still didn't dare cross the line. He remembered his identity. He didn't want Yuning to worry about him. She should have a stable and happy life, right? But although this love was buried in his heart, the relationship between Lin Yi and Yuning became more and more ambiguous. Until that time when House Yu intervened, Lin Yi frowned, not wanting to think about it anymore. Let bygones be bygones. At the very least, Lin Yi was satisfied and happy right now. This mission allowed Lin Yi to truly integrate into the city, becoming a normal person. It gave Lin Yi real feelings. The reason why Lin Yi was able to open his heart was because of his old man's words. He promised that this would be the last mission of his life. He'd be able to retire after finishing it and settle down in Songshan. This allowed Lin Yi to open his heart and accept Tang Yun and Xiao Xiao without any worries. Wow, so romantic. Lin Yi's thoughts were pulled back to reality by a scream behind him. Lin Yi didn't need to look to know that it was Shu. Only she had this kind of personality. You're all awake? Lin Yi turned around. As expected, the Miss Shu and Tang Yun were all here. Why are you two so romantic? Cuddling with each other in the middle of the night? I'm jealous. Yushu giggled as she looked at Xiao Xiao. Why don't we switch? Change what? Xiao Xiao blushed a little. Don't Lin Yi's honey have a seat? You go to the left. Then I won't hold back. Shield bro, you can have a girl on your left and right. Yushu smiled, wanting to sit down. But Mingyao pulled her back. Stop messing around. Let's make breakfast to welcome the sunrise. Oh, okay. Yushu remembered that she had a mission this morning. She had to cook a poached egg for Xiao Xiao. And so she went to the car with Mingyao and Tang Yun. I feel so happy. Xiao Xiao rested her head on Lin Yi's shoulder, enjoying this moment of peace. If you like it, we can come to the beach to watch the sunrise more often. Every year, Lin Yi said. Okay. Xiao Xiao felt a lump in her throat, a little sad. Every year. Perhaps this was the last time she'd be able to watch the sunrise at the beach. Lin Yi could more or less guess what Xiao Xiao was thinking. He was even more determined to find a way to cure Xiao Xiao. The stars in the sky slowly dimmed, and the white of dawn appeared above the sea. It's getting bright, Lin Yi said. It's a new day. Yeah, I've lived another day. Xiao Xiao sighed. At this time, the Miss Shu and Tang Yun had already prepared the cooking tools. Shield bro, everything's ready. Let's start. Yushu ran over. They could do the preparation work, but the rest was up to Lin Yi. Xiao Xiao, wait for me, I'll go make breakfast. Lin Yi said. Can you not go? I don't want you to leave. Xiao Xiao said, a little reliant. Don't worry. I'll make breakfast before sunrise for sure. Lin Yi said with a smile. Okay. I'll wait for you. Xiao Xiao nodded. Lin Yi stood up and walked to the campfire with Yushu, lighting it up quickly. He looked at the eggs on the ground, troubled. They'd barbecued yesterday, and they only needed to put the food on the grill. How were they supposed to cook this poached egg without a pan or a plate? If only I had a pan. Linny smiled bitterly. I do, Yushu said as she handed him a frying pan. Ah, you brought a pan? Linny paused. Do you have a spatula? I do. It's not a problem for all-purpose shoe. Yushu gave a spatula to Linny. All-purpose shoe, she really is all-purpose. Linny smiled bitterly. He didn't know if he should praise Yushu or scold her. Linny felt that the car was very heavy when he was driving, and if Yushu had even brought a pan and a spatula, then there had to be more things in the trunk. But Linny didn't have time to think about this. The most important thing now was to fry the eggs. Linny quickly fried a few poached eggs and gave some to Tang Yun, the miss, and Shu, leaving 2 for Xiao Xiao. Here, eat. Xiao Xiao froze when she smelled the aroma of the poached eggs. How did you know I wanted to eat poached eggs while watching the sunrise? Xiao Xiao asked, surprised. I don't know, I just did it randomly. Linny, naturally, couldn't admit that he'd looked at Xiao Xiao's phone. Isn't this usually what you eat for breakfast? Chapter 1156. Chapter 1154. Jangwon's tragic past. But why do you want to eat a poached egg while watching the sunrise? Linny didn't understand why Xiao Xiao would want to do that. Because when the sun rises, it's like a big fried egg. I can imagine myself eating it in one bite. Xiao Xiao said. I see. Linny sweated. This Xiao Xiao was quite a creative thinker, connecting all these things together. It was quite special. At that moment, a red glow appeared between the sky and the sea, shining brightly. The sun was about to rise. Whoa! Yushu cheered as well. Evidently, they were watching the sunrise as well. It's coming. Xiao Xiao pointed at the sky excitedly as well. As expected, a fiery red sun slowly rose from the sea, jumping into the air bit by bit. The sea was shining with a golden red light. Very beautiful. Xiao Xiao ate her egg as she watched the sunrise happily in Lin Yi's arms. It was a beautiful morning. The sun was rising, and the sea was no longer cold. The temperature of the sea was rising. The 5 of them finished their breakfast. Their original plan was to change into swimsuits and swim in the sea, but the seawater was still a little cold, so the 5 of them sat on the beach and waited for the sun to completely heat up the water before going to swim in the sea. Jangwen and Taizao only woke up when the sun was completely out. They walked out of the tent and saw the 5 sitting on the beach. Jangwen didn't hesitate at all as he walked over. Yao Yao sis, you're up early. You guys must be hungry, right? I have some nutritious breakfast here, it's almost hot. I'll get Taizao to bring some over. Let's eat together. No need, we're done already. Mengyao said faintly. You guys eat. Done? Jangwen blinked, but looked at the cooking utensils not too far away. They seemed to have been used today. He shrugged helplessly. If that's the case, then we'll just have a simple bite. The weather's nice today, why don't we go play in the water? Yao Yao, Shu, do you guys remember when we used to come to the beach together when we were kids? Of course I remember. Yushu spoke up before Mengyao could. Did you get bitten by a crab? Why are you crying? That's right, your D*CK is broken. Sister Yao Yao can't marry you in the future. Otherwise, she won't have any sexual bliss. Quack. Jangwen blinked at Yushu's words, but he remembered that when he was playing at the beach when he was young, his dick was caught by a crab's pincer and he almost broke it. Plus, the culprit was most likely Yushu. She was the one who released the crabs. Jangwen didn't have any proof, but he was pretty sure of it. From then on, Jangwen started to fear Yushu. This girl was too vicious, and he had to stay as far away from her as possible. He might even get castrated by her. At the thought, Jangwen couldn't help but admire Linny a little. He had such a good relationship with Yushu. Was he not afraid of anything? Ha 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 ha. Xiao Xiao started laughing after hearing Yushu's words. Who would have thought that Jangwen had such a tragic past? Mengyao and Tang Yun, on the other hand, were too embarrassed to laugh out loud, but they couldn't help but laugh. This Jangwen sure was unlucky. That's all in the past, let's not talk about it. Jangwen laughed. Let's not talk about this, shall we go swimming later? Right, I even prepared swimsuits for you guys. Taizao, go get the swimsuits for Yao Yao sis and the others. Okay, I'll go get them now. Taizao happily went to get the swimsuits. Very quickly, Taizao came back with a bunch of swimsuits in his hands. Yao Yao, Shu, Tangyu and Xiao Xiao, see if you guys like them? Zhang Wen passed the swimsuits to Meng Yao. Meng Yao didn't take it, but Yushu curiously took it and flipped through it. These are the latest international models. I had someone buy them from overseas. It took a lot of effort. Zhang Wen said proudly. What the hell is this? Meng Yao's face reddened at the sight of it. How is this a normal swimsuit? It was a sexy swimsuit, wasn't it? Her breasts were exposed, and even her thighs were exposed. Meng Yao wouldn't wear something like this in public. Her swimsuits were very conservative, covering her entire body, and this was a world of difference. Zhang Wen didn't expect Meng Yao to react this strongly. Of course, he had to admit that he was being selfish. These swimsuits were all international brands, but he tried his best to choose the sexiest ones. His goal was to let Meng Yao wear them, and it'd be a feast for his eyes. As for Yushu, Zhang Wen didn't dare do anything to her, but she had a good figure, and her breasts were huge. Zhang Wen purposely chose a swimsuit that accentuated Yushu's figure. These are the latest international models. How can they be messed up? Zhang Wen said quickly. These are all designed by famous designers. It might be a little bold, but it's very pretty. You guys are in the prime of your youth. You should show off your beauty. Show it to you? Meng Yao frowned. Zhang Wen was a little embarrassed by Meng Yao's question. Evidently, Meng Yao was really pissed, or she wouldn't ask something like this. I'm not wearing it. You can wear it if you want, Meng Yao said. Zhang Wen felt a little awkward. It's fine if you don't want to wear it. I'm just being nice. Taizao, take it back. Zhang Wen felt that it was a pity, but there was nothing he could do. What could he do if Meng Yao didn't want to wear it? He didn't doubt that Lin Yi would kick him into the Pacific Ocean if he dared to do that. Who was Lin Yi? Even House Yi would beat him up, let alone Zhang Wen. If Fighter Li hadn't died, Zhang Wen wouldn't be that afraid of Lin Yi. But now that Fighter Li was killed by some airgooden, and his new support hadn't arrived yet, he didn't dare fight Lin Yi head-on. Don't take them away, I want these swimsuits. Yushu stopped him. Chapter 1157. Chapter 1155. Shark meat again. I'll bring it home and wear it for shield bro. Yushu's words poured a bucket of cold water over Zhang Wen's head. Wah. Zhang Wen paused and his face changed. Show it to Lin Yi? Why did this girl like Lin Yi so much? Zhang Wen was envious, but at the same time, he thought that Lin Yi would be pranked by Yushu every day, and that she'd release crabs and lobsters to kill him. Give me half, I want it too. Xiao Xiao didn't back down. Sure, I can't do it myself anyway. Yushu didn't reject. Zhang Wen was a little dejected. He spent a lot of money on the swimsuit, and Lin Yi got it for free. He couldn't even see what he bought, how unlucky. But this amount of money wasn't much to Zhang Wen anymore. He waved his hand. All right, I'll give it all to you. Let's go play in the sea today. We'll get some seafood too. It's daylight now, what do you guys want to eat? I'll get it for you. Zhang Wen looked at the crabs and other things crawling up the beach, and he knew that he might be able to get some big fishes later. At least he wouldn't have to go fishing in the dark like last night. What do we want to eat and what do you want to get? Yushu narrowed her eyes at Zhang Wen. Zhang Wen's heart skipped a beat at the look on Yushu's face. This girl wouldn't be playing tricks on him again, would she? It has to be in the sea, right? I won't be able to get it if it's not there. Zhang Wen laughed, pretending to be joking. Yao Yao and I want to eat shark meat. You go get it. Yushu said. Wah. Shark. Zhang Wen jumped in fright upon hearing Yushu's words. How could a shark be fished out so easily? Wouldn't they be bitten to death? Yeah, we want to eat barbecued shark meat. Yushu nodded. Don't you specialize in fighting sharks? You broke a shark's teeth with one punch, were you bragging before? Quack. Zhang Wen suddenly remembered that the last time he treated Zhang Wen, he wanted to show off his bravery by saying that he fought with a shark before. But that was all bullshit. It was a lie. But now Yushu was bringing this up. Zhang Wen didn't know what to do. If he admitted to it, Yushu would definitely make him go catch the shark right now. But if he didn't admit to it, he'd be seen as a liar in front of Meng Yao, and he'd lose all his face. With that thought, Zhang Wen clenched his teeth. There might not be sharks in this shallow water area, so it wasn't his fault if he didn't meet one. Hence he said, "All right, shark meat it is. Tai Zhao and I will go into the sea to catch sharks for you in a while. However, if there are no sharks in this shallow water area, then we can't do anything. After all, we didn't bring diving equipment, so we can't go to the deep sea area." "It doesn't matter. I have a trick to attract sharks." Yushu smiled as she looked at Jiang Wen. "Cut your finger and drip your blood into the sea, and the sharks will be attracted to you." Quack! Jiang Wen jumped up. "That's not good, is it? Why not?" "Are you a coward?" Yao Yao doesn't like cowardly men, she likes brave men. Yushu looked at Jiang Wen and encouraged him. "You need to be brave, you need to be like a warrior if you want to get Yao Yao's attention. You don't have to be nervous no matter how big the danger is. You should believe that Yao Yao is watching you from behind, cheering you on." "Is that so?" Jiang Wen was suddenly filled with courage and fighting spirit as he looked at Tai Zhao. "Tai Zhao, change into your swimsuit, we're going to catch sharks." And bro, aren't we a little too weak to catch sharks with our bodies?" Tai Zhao said carefully, a bitter face on his face. "Cut the crap, let's go." Jiang Wen was afraid that Meng Yao would laugh at him, so he pulled Tai Zhao away to change into his swimsuit. "Shoo, don't you think it's a little too dangerous? What if Jiang Wen and Tai Zhao get killed by sharks?" Meng Yao didn't believe that Jiang Wen could kill sharks at all. She believed that Lin Yi could kill sharks, but Jiang Wen, "It's fine, I'm here, right?" Yushu said. "I killed a shark with a rock last time." "Haha, you're still bringing it up?" Meng Yao couldn't help but laugh. "You didn't kill a shark last time, did you?" "It was Gao Xiaofu." Yao Yao, you know about it too." Yushu blushed a little. She was smart enough to know that she didn't kill a shark, but Gao Xiaofu, who was pretending to be a shark. She thought that no one knew about this. "The shark you killed had a supermarket price tag on it, who wouldn't know?" Meng Yao glared at Yushu before turning to Lin Yi, troubled. "Lin Yi, watch out later, don't let the shark kill Jiang Wen." "Okay." Lin Yi nodded, not asking any more questions. Lin Yi knew what Meng Yao was thinking. Jiang Wen had always been a childhood playmate, and while he'd changed now, becoming a bad guy, Meng Yao still didn't want Jiang Wen to die in front of her because of their past relationship. "Yao Yao, why do you care about him?" "It doesn't matter if he dies." Yushu didn't care. A while later, Jiang Wen and Tai Zhao changed into their swimsuits and got ready to go. "Yao Yao, Shu, aren't you guys coming to play?" Jiang Wen asked. "Yao Yao, are we going?" Yushu turned to Meng Yao. Meng Yao nodded and turned to Tang Yun and Xiao Xiao. "Let's go together?" "Sure." Tang Yun nodded. This was her first time going to the beach, and everything was so new. Songshan was a city close to the mountains, and there weren't many rivers around. It took a long drive to get to the beach, and the only place close to the sea was the bungee jumping area in the amusement park, but it was a steep cliff and below the cliff was the sea. It wasn't a good place to play. Tang Yun's family wasn't doing well, and her father was sick in bed, so she didn't have time to go to the beach. Meng Yao and Yushu bought a lot of swimsuits in the supermarket, but they were all conservative types. They brought some for Tang Yun and Xiao Xiao. Chapter 1158. Lin Yi's loss of composure. "I don't think that's a good idea. You guys pick first." Tang Yun was a little embarrassed. Meng Yao and Yushu were the ones who bought the swimsuits. It was only right for them to pick first. "These swimsuits are all the styles that Shu and I like. We won't buy the ones we don't like, so you guys pick the ones you like. Shu and I like the rest too," Meng Yao explained with a smile. "Then we'll do as you say." Tang Yun didn't refuse and took a set they liked. However, it was a little awkward when they changed their swimsuits. Although they had already seen each other naked when they changed their pajamas last night, it was dark at that time, and they couldn't see anything. They could only vaguely see a white patch, so it wasn't too awkward. But even without turning on the lights, the sun could still shine through the tent, filling the tent with light. It was just a little dark. The miss was a little shy, and so was Tang Yun. But Yushu didn't care. She took off her clothes quickly and got ready to put on her swimsuit. "Wow, Shu, your breasts are so big," Xiao Xiao said as she stared at Yushu's breasts. She quickly ran over and grabbed them. "Let me touch them." "Ah." Yushu cried out as well, quickly dodging Xiao Xiao's attack. Stingy, you're playing threesomes, I won't even let you touch them. I'm not playing with you anymore. Xiao Xiao humphed. I'll let you touch them when we're playing, not now. Yushu quickly put on her swimsuit. Only Shield Bro can touch them now. With Xiao Xiao and Yushu's interference, the atmosphere in the tent wasn't as awkward anymore. Mengyao and Tang Yun took off their clothes and got ready to change into their swimsuits. Xiao Xiao, on the other hand, was a little shy at the end. At least Mengyao, Yushu, and Tang Yun had changed their pajamas together yesterday, and they'd slept on the same mattress, so they were quite familiar with each other. Only Xiao Xiao was doing it for the first time, so she was a little embarrassed. Xiao Xiao, why are you so slow? Is it because your breasts are too small that you feel inferior in front of me? Yushu giggled. Who said that? You're so big, I'm just right. Xiao Xiao quickly took off her clothes and changed into her swimsuit. Seems to be a little bigger than Yao Yao sis. Yao sis, it looks like you have to work hard. Yushu said to herself. Shu, you're too much. Mengyao's face was red from Yushu's actions, and she went to tear her lips. I'm going swimming, Yushu said as she ran out of the tent. Mengyao didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Linny also went back to change into his swimming trunks. When he walked out of the tent, he saw Shu running out. Xiao Shu's chest was no longer restrained. Coupled with the fact that she was jogging, Lin Yi's breathing quickened. This scene was very similar to a popular chat picture emoticon on the internet. Wow, Shield Bro, you're so strong. Yushu didn't realize that she was inappropriate, but when she saw Lin Yi's muscular chest and abs, her eyes lit up. Ugh, you're very big too. Lin Yi said subconsciously, but after saying that, he felt that something wasn't right. Lin Yi had always been a serious person in front of Mengyao and Yushu, and he'd never say anything that went overboard. But this time, he'd let Yushu lead him into saying something he shouldn't have said. Oh, Yushu was surprised by Lin Yi's words as well, but she was happy. Although Lin Yi loved her a lot in the past, he never praised her like this. So Yushu was very happy. Shield Bro, you finally found Shu's good points? Lin Yi was speechless. Seemed that humans weren't saints. He had been with Yao Yao and Shu for a long time. It was inevitable that he would have some thoughts about them. It was reasonable for him to have feelings for them. You and Yao Yao are both very good. Lin Yi's face returned to normal as he said faintly. Yushu was a little depressed that Lin Yi had gone back to his old self, but thinking about it, Lin Yi's attitude was very clear. It seemed that he still liked her. And Shu, you have to do your best. Mengyao, Tang Yun and Xiao Xiao came out later, so naturally they didn't see the scene before. They were a little confused by Yushu's bright smile. Only Mengyao wasn't happy. Shu, is my chest so small that it's worth it for you to be happy? You're dying of laughter. I think you should be called Chan Xiao Xiao. No, I'm not laughing at that. Yushu scratched her head, a little embarrassed. Then what are you laughing at? Mengyao looked at Yushu confused. Oh, nothing. I'm laughing at that idiot Jiangwen going to catch a shark. Yushu said. Mengyao didn't really believe Yushu's words, but she didn't say anything. Jiangwen and Taizao were swimming in the ocean when they saw Mengyao and the others coming out. He waved his hands. Yao Yao, come quickly. It's really cool in the water. The sun was already out, and standing on the beach was quite hot. The water hadn't absorbed all the heat yet, so it was still a little cold. It was the most comfortable time to go into the water. Jiangwen bro, why aren't you going to catch a shark? Yushu asked directly after entering the water. I was just thinking, why don't we play for a while? Otherwise, how are we supposed to play if the blood stays in the water? Jiangwen laughed. We'll catch sharks after we're done playing. Is that so? That works too. Yushu thought about it. They weren't done playing yet, and it was indeed a little unpleasant to attract a shark. She was there to supervise them, so she wasn't worried that Jiangwen wouldn't go. The chances of sharks and dangerous sea creatures appearing in shallow water were very low, but Lin Yi was still very vigilant, watching the surface of the sea, ready to make a move at a moment's notice. Wow, there are abalones on the reef. Xiao Xiao pointed excitedly at a reef at the bottom of the sea and exclaimed, Really? There's abalones here? Yushu rolled her eyes and called out to Jiangwen, Jiangwen bro, there's abalones here. Come catch some abalones for lunch. Chapter 1159. Let me tell you a secret, it's right here. Hurry up and catch it. Yushu pointed at the reef in the water. That's too easy, watch me. Jangwon thought that this was a good chance to show off his bravery. He gathered his strength and said to the abalone, "Little abalone, I'm coming." But Jangwon's thinking was too simple. The abalone was stuck to the reef like it was glued to it. Even a cow would struggle to pull it away. Jangwon, on the other hand, didn't know that he was treating the abalone like a clam, thinking that he could just pick it up. And so Jangwon felt that something wasn't right. Why was the abalone so tight? It was as if it was growing on the reef. Taizao, come help. Let's pull it together. Jangwon said to Taizao. All right, let's pull it together. Taizao was scared of ghosts and sharks, but this little abalone was nothing to him. He and Jangwon started pulling it with all their might. Jangwon bro, Taizao bro, go. Yao Yao is watching you guys. Yushu cheered them on as she slipped away with Xiao Xiao, leaving the two idiots pulling the abalone with all their might. Yushu and Xiao Xiao ran over to Mengyao and Tang Yun's side, laughing their heads off. What's wrong with you two? Mengyao asked curiously. Jangwon and Taizao are pulling the abalone with their hands. Yushu said. Pulling the abalone with their hands? Mengyao blinked. Can that thing be pulled out with their hands? Don't we have to use special tools to pull it out? Didn't we watch an episode of Animal World before? It's about abalone, right? Yeah, those two idiots must have never watched it before. They think they can pull it out with their hands. Yushu said. Let them do it, we don't have to worry about them bothering us anymore. Yushu said. Mengyao shook her head. This Yushu was quite a bad person. Linny didn't go into the sea, he sat quietly on the beach, watching the people play in the water. He had to take care of their safety. Husband Linny, can you come down to the sea to play this time? You lied to me that you didn't know how to swim, but Shu said you saved him. Xiao Xiao looked at Linny a little bitterly. She'd wanted Linny to come play with her when Pinliang organized the trip to the beach, but Linny refused, saying that he didn't know how to swim. But as she got closer to Yushu, Xiao Xiao learned more about Linny. I'm not going. You guys have fun first. Linny shook his head. But Xiao Xiao naturally wouldn't let Linny go so easily. With Xiao Xiao in the lead, the group started splashing water on Linny. Yushu quickly joined in as well, and Tang Yun hesitated a little before joining in. The miss was in a difficult position. With her personality, she would never mess around with Yushu. But now that Tang Yun had joined the battle, if the miss didn't join in, it would seem that she was not a part of the group. And so the miss started splashing water on Linny as well. Linny didn't mind, smiling. It's a little hot sitting on the beach, it'll cool me down a little. I'll just take it as a shower. Sisters, how about we push Shield Bro into the sea? Yushu wasn't too happy about it. Sure. Xiao Xiao was the first to agree. Tang Yun, on the other hand, didn't hold back. It was her first time out, and she had to enjoy herself. She answered Yushu's call, running up to the shore and dragging Linny into the water. Linny wasn't expecting Tang Yun to get along with Yushu as well. He was a little surprised, but he gave her some face and went into the sea. On the other side, Jangwon and Taizao were struggling with the abalone. Jangwon wanted to cry as he looked at the laughter. Why is this abalone so hard? Is it growing on the reef? Who knows, bro? I've already used all my strength, but the abalone doesn't move at all. Taizao smiled bitterly. Maybe there's something wrong with this abalone? That Yushu girl is always messing with people. Maybe we should change to another abalone? Jangwon thought about it and agreed. Yushu was always messing with people, and there might be something wrong with this abalone. He and Taizao went to pull out the other abalones, only to realize that it was the same as before. It was stuck to the rocks, not moving at all. Could it be that there's something wrong with all the abalones? Jangwon frowned. That can't be, right? These are all wild abalones, they don't look like they've been tampered with? Taizao was confused as well. Forget it, don't pull them out. Yushu wants to eat abalone, right? We'll call Gang Lu when we get ashore and get him to buy a few kilos of abalones. She said it herself yesterday, we don't have to go to the sea to eat seafood. Jiangwen said. That's true. Taizao and Jiangwen went ashore together, giving up on the idea of pulling abalones. He went back to the tent and called Gang Lu, asking him to buy a few kilos of abalones and some shark meat. Jiangwen seems to have given up on pulling abalones. Xiao Xiao said as she looked at the shore. How about we mess with him again? Yushu blinked as an idea formed in her mind. Sure. How? Xiao Xiao didn't even need to think about it before agreeing. You just have to do this. Yushu and Xiao Xiao started plotting. It didn't take long for the two to get ashore and walk towards Jiangwen. Jiangwen bro, come here, I'll tell you a secret. Yushu waved at Jiangwen. Oh, what secret? Jiangwen didn't dare delay. He knew that Yushu's secret might not be something good, but he still walked over. Come closer. Yushu gestured for Jiangwen to crouch down. She wasn't as tall as Jiangwen, so naturally, she couldn't reach his ear. What is it? Jiangwen crouched down. Yushu put her mouth close to Jiangwen's ear and suddenly screamed. Wah! Jiangwen jumped up in fright from Yushu's sudden scream. His ears were ringing from the shockwave, and he was almost deafened by Yushu. Jiangwen was a little pissed off. Wasn't Yushu a little too much? It was fine if she was messing around, but was she trying to scare him to death? Chapter 1160. Chapter 1158. Why didn't you tell me? No, Jiangwen bro, I really wanted to tell you a secret. Yushu said, feeling wronged. You really wanted to tell me a secret? What kind of secret do you want to tell me? Jiangwen frowned. And bro, bad news. Something big happened. Taizao ran over from not too far away, panting as he spoke. Wait a minute, what's going on? Wait for Lil Sis Shu to tell me the secret first. Jiangwen waved his hand, gesturing for Taizao to calm down. Jiangwen bro, I actually wanted to tell you. Xiao Xiao wants to put a crab in your pants. Yushu said. Then tell me. Why did you yell all of a sudden? Are you trying to deafen me? Jiangwen looked at Yushu helplessly. No, I yelled because Xiao Xiao came just now and she put crabs in your pants. I saw it and jumped in fright. Yushu said embarrassedly. Gah. Jiangwen jumped up again, holding his crotch with both hands as cold sweat dripped down his forehead. I pinched my balls, it hurts. Oh Jiangwen bro, I've told you the secret. I'll be going first, keep your balls hurting. Yushu waved at Jiangwen and turned to leave. Jiangwen held his crotch as he jumped up and down, not daring to take off his pants in front of everyone. He could only run into the tent. Once inside the tent, Jiangwen quickly took off his swimming trunks, and a small crab happened to be clamping onto Jiangwen's balls. Taizao, come help me, I can't use my strength. Jiangwen called out, troubled. Little crab, come down, it's not fun over there. Taizao said with his head lowered. Are you a crab? Does it even understand what you're saying? Hurry up and help me take it down. Jiangwen was very pissed off. Why was he talking to a crab at a time like this? Taizao didn't dare say much as he carefully reached out to pull the crab, only to find that Jiangwen was on the verge of tears. My balls, I pulled them, but it won't come down even if I don't. Taizao didn't know what to do. He didn't know if he should continue or stop. Can't you be more careful? Should we break its claws first? Jiangwen said. I'll try. Taizao nodded carefully. As a result, a great drama of wailing and howling unfolded in the tent, and a real pain in the ass was born. Yushu and Xiao Xiao, on the other hand, went back to playing with Lin Yi Mengyao and Tang Yunxiao as if nothing had happened. What happened to Jiangwen? I think he's injured. Mengyao didn't know what was wrong with Jiangwen. Jiangwen's cries were so shrill that even Mengyao could hear them from afar. His balls are hurting, Yushu said. Balls? Balls? Mengyao's face reddened. Balls were a common phrase in the internet, but it was mostly used by men. Girls didn't have balls after all, and it wasn't elegant to say that out loud. Mengyao especially didn't know how to say that. Naturally, she felt a little embarrassed hearing Yushu say that. But Mengyao was a little puzzled. Why was Jiangwen having balls all of a sudden? His balls got clamped by a crab. Xiao Xiao explained. Huh. Meng Yao paused. She didn't know what it felt like to have his balls clamped by a crab, but it probably wasn't a good feeling. Why is he so unlucky? Why is he getting that? I put the crab there. Xiao Xiao said. Ah. Meng Yao's headache, so it was Xiao Xiao's doing? Looking at Yushu's face, it was probably the two's teamwork. Jiang Wen sure was unlucky, running into these two devils. Nothing bad will happen to him, right? Meng Yao asked worriedly. Nope, it's just a small crab. It'll get hurt at most, but it won't die. Yushu said. Jiang Wen finally managed to pull the crab off with all his might, but his balls were broken as well, and the pain made him jump up and down. Motherfucker, stupid crab. I'll stomp you to death. Jiang Wen stepped on the crab after he got it off. But because it was sand, the crab wasn't affected at all. Once he stepped on it, the crab shot out its claws and clamped onto Jiang Wen's toes again. Ouch! Jiang Wen cried out again. Half an hour later, Jiang Wen limped out of the tent, holding his balls. His balls and toes were all bandaged up and he was in pain. He asked Tai Zhao as he walked, right, you said something big happened just now, that you had something big to report to me. What happened? Jiang Wen remembered that Tai Zhao wanted to talk to him about something, but Yushu had scared him out of his mind, so he didn't pay much attention to it. It's like this, bro. I wanted to tell you that Xiao Xiao threw a crab in your pants, but there's no need now. Tai Zhao said bitterly. What? Jiang Wen almost jumped up from the ground. You're saying Xiao Xiao threw the crab? You saw it? Why didn't you tell me earlier? Jiang Wen remembered that the crab hadn't even bitten the eggs when Tai Zhao was yelling. Did that mean that this wouldn't have happened if he'd found out in time? Jiang Wen's face turned very ugly at the thought. But I wanted to tell you earlier. But you told me to wait until Lil Sis Shu told you the secret. Tai Zhao said weakly. Wah. Jiang Wen paused, but thinking about it, that was indeed the case. He was the one who asked Tai Zhao to wait for a bit. Jiang Wen could only blame it on his bad luck. Who could he blame for this? Jiang Wen looked at Yushu and Xiao Xiao with a hint of hatred in his eyes, but they were Meng Yao's friends, and he couldn't do anything about it. If he did, they'd just say it was a joke. What could he do? And so Jiang Wen gritted his teeth and endured the pain, pretending to be fine as he walked towards the beach. Chapter 1161. Chapter 1159. You're a brave man, Jiang Wen bro. How are you? Where's that crab? Yushu's first sentence hit Jiang Wen's sore spot. Jiang Wen's face froze, but he didn't want Meng Yao to look down on him. He pretended to be calm and said nonchalantly, It's just a little crab, what can it do to me? Meng Yao didn't know what to say, but Jiang Wen didn't want Meng Yao to underestimate him. Wow, Jiang Wen bro, you're so strong? Your balls are fine. Yushu's eyes were filled with admiration. Of course it's fine, I've trained before. I got caught by a crab once when I was young, and I've been training ever since I was free. As of now, a single crab is useless against me. Jiang Wen said proudly. The same move is nothing to me. Oh, Jiang Wen bro's a steel egg. Then the girl who marries you will definitely be blessed. Yushu said enviously. Haha, you can't say that. But I'm sure she'll be blessed. Jiang Wen thought that Yushu was quite adorable at times like this, praising him in front of Meng Yao. It seemed like it was a good thing that he'd gotten his balls pinched between his legs. Jiang Wen bro, you're a brave and strong man. Yushu said sincerely. Of course Yao Yao Lil Sis likes brave men. I'm developing in that direction. Jiang Wen nodded. Oh, since you're fine, then go catch the shark. We're waiting to eat it. Yushu said. Wah. Jiang Wen paused, realizing that he'd fallen into Yushu's trap. Yushu kept complimenting him on how brave and strong he was, and now she wanted him to go catch a shark? He couldn't say no to that either. Fighting with sharks is a very dangerous thing, and you guys are playing in the sea right now. Let's just forget about it. It's not good to cause a bloody mess. Jiang Wen had a plan in mind. I've already told Gang Lu to buy some abalone and shark meat from the supermarket. They'll be here soon, so we don't need to catch them anymore. Oh, that's not the same. The sharks in the supermarket are dead, frozen, and not fresh. Sister Yao Yao prefers to eat fresh sharks. Yushu said, plus Yao Yao likes the process of a warrior fighting a shark, not the result. Eating the shark is secondary, you just want to enjoy the fruit of your victory. If it's a shark killed by someone else, Yao Yao won't eat it. I see. Yushu's words made Jiang Wen's blood boil, but he wasn't an idiot. He knew what he was capable of. His body wasn't even enough to fill the gap between the shark's teeth, let alone fight it. But in order to not lose face in front of Meng Yao, Jiang Wen hesitated. Naturally, I've been thinking about that too. It's been a while since I fought a shark, and I'm starting to feel a little uncomfortable. You also know that a brave person like me will feel uncomfortable if I don't do something brave for a period of time. But sharks aren't easy to come by. This is shallow water. Sharks don't usually come here, so this thing can only depend on luck. Jiang Wen's words were very clear. He wanted to catch sharks, but there weren't any here, so it wasn't his fault, was it? Jiang Wen wasn't wrong. There weren't any sharks in shallow water, so there was no way to catch one even if he wanted to. Let's try it then. Cut your finger and attract the shark. Yushu nodded. There were indeed sharks around here. When he fell into the water with Lin Yi, and when Pinliang organized the trip, they'd all met sharks. Yushu thought that Jiang Wen would be lucky to meet a shark this time. Alright. Jiang Wen thought that this little bit of blood would be diluted very quickly, and the sharks wouldn't be able to get close. He turned to Tai Zhao. Tai Zhao, cut your finger and attract the shark. Ah, how come it's me? Tai Zhao pointed at himself, a little troubled. Me if not you? Jiang Wen glared at him. Hurry up, don't delay me from fighting the shark. Alright. Tai Zhao gritted his teeth and went to cut his finger. But this time Jiang Wen had miscalculated. He didn't know anything about sharks at all. Or he wouldn't have said something stupid like breaking a shark's teeth with one punch. If you dropped a drop of blood in the ocean, the shark would be able to smell it from a quarter of a mile away. Sharks were especially sensitive to odors in the ocean, especially the smell of blood. Injured fish would make low-frequency vibrations, and even small amounts of blood would attract them from afar. Their sense of smell was even better than that of a land dog's. They could smell blood at 1 ppm, 1/1,000,000th. In the water, meaning that their sense of smell could detect 1 drop of blood in 1,000,000 drops of seawater. A 1-meter-long shark's nose was filled with olfactory nerve endings up to 4,842 square centimeters, like a 5 to 7 meter long man-eater shark. Its sense of smell was so sensitive that it could smell the blood of injured people and marine animals from several kilometers away. Tai Zhao, on the other hand, had more than 1 drop of blood. If there were sharks nearby, it would be strange if he didn't attract them. Yao Yao Shu Yun Yun Xiao Xiao, let's go ashore. What if there are sharks? Lin Yi, on the other hand, knew that Tai Zhao's actions would attract sharks, and so he prepared for them to go ashore to hide. Otherwise, Lin Yi wouldn't be able to protect all 4 of them at the same time if the shark really came. Don't be caught off guard. Seeing how serious Lin Yi was, the mist didn't say much. She nodded. Alright Shu, let's go rest for a bit. We'll get some sun. Tang Yun and Xiao Xiao naturally listened to Lin Yi. Lin Yi had his reasons for telling them to go ashore. That's good too. Only brave people can fight a terrifying existence like sharks. Jiang Wen was a bit surprised at Lin Yi's cowardice, but the more cowardly Lin Yi was, the happier Jiang Wen was. Only Lin Yi's cowardice could highlight his bravery. Lin Yi smiled faintly and didn't say anything. If Jiang Wen wanted to be stupid, then let him be. He'd know what fear felt like when the sharks were attracted. Chapter 1162. Chapter 1160. Caring, then watch me. Jiang Wen walked into the sea proudly. As far as he was concerned, sharks couldn't possibly appear on this shallow beach. However, he had only taken 2 steps when something that shocked him to the core happened. A shark's fin appeared on the calm surface of the sea, and it was swimming towards him at high speed. Wah! Jiang Wen's eyes went wide. He never would have thought that a shark would actually come. Tai Zhao, on the other hand, didn't seem to realize the danger that was coming. He was standing in the sea like an idiot, dripping blood into the water with his finger. His head was lowered, however, and he didn't see the shark swimming towards him. Jiang Wen's face froze. He didn't know if he should run or go forward. He'd be safe if he ran, but he'd lose his face in front of Meng Yao. He'd lost a lot of face this time, but he didn't dare go forward. How was he a match for a shark? Wasn't going to die if he went forward? With that thought, Jiang Wen sweated profusely. He couldn't make a choice. Jiang Wen bro, you can do it. Jiang Wen bro, you can do it. Yushu cheered. You can do it. Yao Yao loves watching heroes fight sharks. Jiang Wen's expression was worse than if he were crying. He wasn't an idiot. Fighting a shark like this was suicide. Tai Zhao, on the other hand, heard Yushu's yell. He paused and looked up to see the shark swimming towards him at breakneck speed, jumping up in fright. He didn't dare let any more blood into the water, and started running away immediately. Jiang Wen's mental defenses crumbled as he watched Tai Zhao run off. He turned around and ran with Tai Zhao. Jiang Wen bro, why aren't you fighting sharks anymore? Yushu looked at Jiang Wen strangely. Well, I suddenly feel sorry for the shark. Look at how small it is, it must be a baby shark. It hasn't been in this world for long, and it'd be too pitiful if I killed it. Jiang Wen said with an idea. So I decided to let it go. I see. Yushu nodded thoughtfully. Of course, I'm very compassionate. Jiang Wen nodded quickly after seeing that Yushu believed him. Okay, but Jiang Wen bro, there's a big shark over there. I'll leave it to you. Yushu pointed at the sea. Wah. Jiang Wen looked in the direction Yushu was pointing at, and almost jumped up. A shark that was even bigger than the previous one was swimming towards them. Judging from the size of its fin, it was several times bigger than the previous shark. Jiang Wen was dumbfounded. He really wanted to slap himself a few times. What kind of mouth was this? Why was it so effective? He had just casually mentioned it, and a bigger shark had come. He really didn't know what to do. Jiang Wen, what's wrong? Is this shark also a baby shark? Could it be a little shark with obesity? Yushu giggled. You're young, aren't you? Of course not. Jiang Wen wanted to say what Yushu said, but since Yushu had already said it, it wouldn't be good if he repeated it. He laughed dryly. I think this shark must be related to the baby shark. They're a family. This is a mother shark, and she's afraid that I'll kill the baby shark, so the old one came to protect it. If I kill the old one, then the baby shark won't have a mother anymore. It's so pitiful, so I've decided to let them go. Yao Yao sis, don't blame me. It's not that I don't want to give you shark meat, it's just that I'm too compassionate. Jiang Wen's words were full of loopholes, and even Meng Yao couldn't help but laugh. But Meng Yao was different from Yushu. She wouldn't expose Jiang Wen, only looking down on him in her heart. How could someone like this be called brave? Finally, after the two sharks circled the nearby waters, they did not find their target, and swam away after finding nothing. Only then did Jiang Wen let out a breath of relief, his face a little awkward. He didn't know if Meng Yao believed him or not, but he couldn't tell from Meng Yao's expression at all. Meng Yao was still as calm and expressionless as ever. But just when Jiang Wen didn't know what to do, someone came to his rescue. It was Gang Lu. At this moment, Gang Lu was driving a Toyota off-road vehicle to the beach. He stopped the car and ran towards Jiang Wen with the abalone and shark meat he just bought from the supermarket. And bro, I've bought everything according to your orders. The abalone is the highest grade of Hokkaido abalone. It's very precious, and the shark meat is very fresh. Gang Lu said as he handed the two big bags to Jiang Wen. Jiang Wen was overjoyed at the sight. Now that the seafood was here, he didn't need to go into the sea to fish it, and he didn't need to fight the shark. Gang Lu, good job. Jiang Wen took the bag with a smile. But the bag wasn't even in Jiang Wen's hands for a second before Yushu snatched it away. Jiang Wen bro, you're a kind person. These abalones are alive, you can't bear to eat them, right? And the shark meat. You didn't even bear to kill sharks before, so you definitely wouldn't eat their meat. So, in order to prevent you from being a heartless person, leave this to us. You be the good guy, and we'll be the bad guy. Yushu said confidently, and Jiang Wen couldn't refute her at all. If he were to retort, then all that love and whatnot would be bullsh*t. So, Jiang Wen could only swallow his pride and keep it to himself. This was delicious seafood, and Jiang Wen wanted to try it himself, but he didn't expect that because of what he said before, he wouldn't be able to. But the more it was like this, the more Jiangwen couldn't say anything. He had to act like he didn't care and said calmly, naturally, I won't eat it. Who told me to be a kind person? Then I'll give it all to you. Jiangwen's heart was bleeding. Fuck, he wouldn't have bragged if he knew this was going to happen. Wasn't he just asking for trouble? Forget it. He'd go back and eat the lamb skewers from yesterday. There was still a lot left and it was enough. Chapter 1163. Leave nothing behind. Jiangwen bro's so kind, he's probably a vegetarian, right? He still has some lamb skewers and stuff, we can share them with him, can't we? We can't let him be so heartless. Xiao Xiao reminded. Wah! Jiangwen's eyes went wide, almost fainting from the rage. How was he supposed to live like this? Not only did he take the seafood, but he was also trying to kill them all? Even the lamb skewers? Oh right, I forgot. Then let's go get them, Jiangwen bro. Yushu slapped her forehead as realization dawned on her. Of course, Jiangwen gave Yushu a smile that was uglier than a crying face. And so a strange scene unfolded on the beach. Lin Yi, Mingyao, Yushu, Tang Yun and Xiao Xiao were all enjoying the barbecue together, while Jiangwen, Taizao and Ganglu stood at a distance, looking at them enviously. They wanted to cry, but no tears came out. Taizao, what else do we have to eat? Jiangwen asked bitterly. I've given out everything here, I wonder what else Ganglu has? Taizao turned to Ganglu. I bought some canned beer from the supermarket, but we don't have any seafood left. We can't just eat beer, can we? Ganglu shrugged with a bitter smile. Is there nothing else other than beer? Taizao asked. There's still a few cups of instant noodles. Ganglu said. Instant noodles are fine too, we'll just make do with it. There's an electric kettle in the car, right? Let's boil some water. Jiangwen thought that it was better than nothing. It didn't feel good to be hungry. But there's no water in bro? Ganglu said weakly. Instant noodles need water, and there's only beer here. We can't just use beer for instant noodles, can we? Isn't there seawater? You idiot, why don't you just get some seawater and boil it? We can use it as seafood noodles. Jiangwen pointed at the sea, furious. This Ganglu really was an idiot. There was so much water in front of them and he said there was no water? What kind of look was that? But the seawater is salty. Taizao asked, confused. Wouldn't it be less salty if you added less seasoning? Jiangwen glared. Thus, the three of them ate seafood noodles and drank beer. It was quite a unique experience. And bro, this noodles is pretty good. So fresh. Taizao didn't have enough after one bowl and made another. Of course, don't you know who I am? Jiangwen said proudly. Lin Yi and the others, on the other hand, were eating happily, especially Yushu and Xiao Xiao. Their mouths were covered in grease, and they looked like hungry ghosts coming back to life. Lin Yi, honey, try Xiao Xiao's abalone. It's super delicious. Xiao Xiao picked up an extremely large abalone, dipped it in seasoning, and put it next to Lin Yi's mouth. Lin Yi opened his mouth, his imagination running wild. Smiling abalone? Delicious. On the other side, Yushu naturally didn't want to be outdone. She looked at Xiao Xiao with disdain. Abalone. Naturally, Yushu knew what it meant. It was often said on the forums. It used to be called abalone, but now it was called fungus. And so, it didn't matter if Xiao Xiao was doing this on purpose or not. As her number one opponent, Yushu began to retaliate. She picked up a cup of milk tea and gave it to Lin Yi. Shield bro, you're thirsty, right? Drink some of Shu's milk, huh? Lin Yi almost couldn't hold it in. These two were doing this on purpose, weren't they? Yes, it did seem like it. Lin Yi took the milk tea from Yushu's hands and took a sip. Jiangwen's eyes went red as he watched Lin Yi's side eat so happily. That's our stuff, and Lin Yi took it. What a bully. Taizao threw away the bowl in his hand. And bro, are we going to get revenge? Ganglu asked carefully. Revenge? What revenge? Lin Yi's a mystic and I'm not an idiot. The three of us aren't even enough to warm up for him. Jiangwen knew his situation very well. This Lin Yi was a wolf in sheep's clothing. He'd been tricked a couple of times already, even losing his kidney. Of course we can't fight him head on. Why don't we play some tricks? As Taizao's #1 strategist, Gang Lu was quite good at scheming. Tricks? You think you can win against Yushu and Xiao Xiao? Zhang Wen rolled his eyes. My balls are hurting right now. Gang Lu went silent. Going head-on didn't work and playing dirty didn't work either. What else could he do? Gang Lu was right. Zhang Wen really didn't have any tricks up his sleeve right now. Before a new master arrived, Zhang Wen really didn't have anything he could rely on. Zhang Wen didn't want to get into a conflict with Lin Yi, but he wanted to use soft tactics to get on Meng Yao's good side. At noon, there were more and more tourists at the beach. This place wasn't a safe swimming area, but the environment was good. Many people who came to the beach for barbecue would choose this place. Of course, most people would leave after they were done barbecuing. Very few people would stay the night or swim here. They'd set up camp at the beach. After all, not many people were as brave as Lin Yi, not afraid of sharks. Driving a Q7 and a Land Cruiser to the beach to eat instant noodles? Which family's young masters are they from? Are they trying to act cool? I think they're probably rentals. Not necessarily. Look at how they use seawater to cook noodles. Maybe they have a special hobby? Maybe they just like that? Or maybe they got robbed. They took all the good food they brought, and now they can only eat instant noodles? The truth emperor appeared, but no one believed him. There's no robbery in this area. Why aren't we robbed? Someone retorted. Zhang Wen's face darkened when he heard the tourists talking about him. He stood up with a fierce face and looked at the crowd. What are you looking at? I like instant noodles. What's wrong with that? Seawater boiled noodles are called seafood noodles. Normal people can't even get to eat that. The crowd started snickering, and Zhang Wen got even angrier. But the law couldn't punish everyone, and he couldn't go looking for trouble one by one, could he? He wouldn't be a match for them if they ganged up on him. With that thought, Zhang Wen could only swallow his anger. Let's go. Let's go. There was no point in staying here any longer. Meng Yao and the others would go back after eating. After all, no one would stay here for 2 nights straight. Chapter 1164. Chapter 1162. Xie Yufeng again. The 12th grade classes were quite tight, and the Miss Xu and Tang Yun all had to go back and study. I'm so full. Yushu held her round belly as she laid on the beach, not willing to move. It's so delicious. That Gang Lu sure is a nice guy, buying so much good stuff. Xiao Xiao burped. She couldn't take it anymore. That's right. Meng Yao and Tang Yun, on the other hand, were more gentlemanly. They were the type who only tasted a little, and wouldn't keep eating just because the food was delicious. Isn't that Lin Yi? There's also Meng Yao, Yushu, Tang Yun and Xiao Xiao? A familiar voice rang out just as they were about to rest. Lin Yi raised his head, not expecting Xie Yufeng to be here. Lin Yi was a bit surprised to see Xie Yufeng here and now. Xie Yufeng? Your car is fixed. Lin Yi was already suspicious of Xie Yufeng's parentage. This guy hid his strength in front of him, so naturally, Lin Yi wouldn't be too close with him. His attitude towards Xie Yufeng had always been cold. Haha, it's just a car. I bought another one. Xie Yufeng's eyes flashed with hatred. If it weren't for Lin Yi, he wouldn't be the one giving money to someone else, but someone else giving him money. This damned guy, always appearing when he wanted to show his strength. Wasn't he just making things difficult for him? Originally, Xie Yufeng didn't want to greet Lin Yi today, but thinking of the heavy responsibility his family gave him, he had to investigate Lin Yi's background. He had to pretend to get close to Lin Yi, hoping to get some information from Lin Yi. From his observation, other than Meng Yao, Yushu, Tang Yun and Xiao Xiao, Lin Yi didn't seem to have any contact with anyone else. This brat seems to be flirting with girls all day long. Meng Yao, Yushu and Xiao Xiao's backgrounds were obvious to Yufeng. Other than Tang Yun, who was a commoner, all 3 of them had some background. However, all 3 of them got along very well with Lin Yi. It had to be said that Lin Yi was very powerful. If he didn't have a bit of skill, he wouldn't have been able to get the favor of these 3 girls. Could it be that Lin Yi was really a disciple of a hidden family? Or even someone from an ancient sect? The more Yufeng interacted with Lin Yi, the more he couldn't figure out Lin Yi's background. so he didn't dare to act rashly. He was a prideful person, thinking that he could kill Linny with one move, but after all these setbacks he had calmed down. He was waiting for the Xiao family to make the first move. He didn't have much hope before, since the Xiao family had fallen to a certain point, and they couldn't even take care of themselves. How would they have the time to cause trouble for Lin Yi? But now the Xiao family had the support of the Hidden House Pie, and the people Lin Yi injured were from the Hidden House Pie, so Yufeng didn't want to be the one to take the lead. Letting the Xiao family take the lead and kill Lin Yi would be the best. Even if they didn't kill Lin Yi, they would be able to find out more about Lin Yi's background. Yufeng wasn't an idiot. He had a more important mission right now, and that was to hit on Ling Shan. This was the genius girl of house song, and she was very pretty. He heard that house song's arts were very suitable for dual practicing, and once he got her in his bed, wouldn't his kung fu improve by leaps and bounds? He heard that the old man of house song was a useless martial artist, yet he was forcefully pushed to the late phase of golden class. He was a genius, so wouldn't he be able to go straight to earth class? With that thought, Yufeng abandoned all his previous plans and gave up on the girl beside Lin Yi. This wasn't a joke. Ling Shan was working in Songshan, and if she knew that he was hitting on girls in school, her impression of him would plummet. It wasn't uncommon for noble houses to have multiple wives and concubines, but there were some things that didn't matter. Plus, Xie Yufeng hadn't even gotten married yet, and he was already thinking about getting a concubine? That was a huge taboo. And so Yufeng calmed down and didn't target Lin Yi. He was just a little puzzled why wasn't the Xiao family making a move yet? What were they waiting for? Oh, do you have anything else? If not, we'll be leaving. Lin Yi looked at Yufeng. He didn't want to talk to him anymore. Alright, you guys have fun, I'll be leaving. Yufeng nodded and turned around, his face a little dark. Yufeng came here today to check things out. He'd heard from his contacts in the Songshan police station that Ling Shan was on leave tomorrow and the day after. He wasn't surprised at all, since different departments had different rules when it came to holidays. It was normal for Ling Shan to be on duty during the holidays. Yufeng planned to officially invite Ling Shan over tomorrow, but he wasn't very familiar with the tourist attractions around Songshan. In order to avoid a situation where he had to make a last-minute effort, he decided to come over first to check things out. So today he drove around with Penghu and Songming, but didn't expect to bump into Lin Yi. Yufeng brought some barbecue ingredients today, planning to practice with Penghu and Songming. It was also a way to practice his barbecue skills. And so, after Yufeng came back from Lin Yi's place, the three sat on the ground, ready to start barbecuing. Lin Yi glanced at Yufeng and the others, not bothering with them. After resting for a bit, the five were about to leave when Lin Yi saw someone he didn't expect. Chen Shi, the girl Lin Yi and Xiao Xiao met at the beef noodle shop. She was with an old man picking up trash on the beach with a sack. This area was filled with people who came by themselves to barbecue and barbecue. The beer bottles and soft drinks were also thrown on the ground. There were even some rich people who didn't even want the iron skewers and grill from the mutton skewers. They just threw them on the beach and left. Therefore, every holiday and weekend, if one were to scavenge here, they would have a good harvest. Chanshi's harvest today was quite a lot. One could tell from her blushing face that she was very happy. But Lin Yi's eyes landed on the old man beside Chanshi. A mystic late-phase peak spiritual practitioner? Lin Yi's eyes were about to fall out of their sockets. A mystic late-phase peak spiritual practitioner coming out to pick up trash? Why was this world full of weird situations? Chapter 1165. Conflict and lesson. Lin Yi wanted to observe this old man for a bit. Just what was going on with him? Chan Shi and the old man shuttled past the tourists barbecuing on the beach, picking up the beverage cans and beer bottles that they threw around. Many people looked at them with disgust and disdain. Of course Chan Shi didn't notice Lin Yi. She probably didn't have time to pay attention to other people. Her attention was all on the bottles. Soon Chan Shi walked to Yufeng's side. Just like before, she picked up a beer can beside Yufeng. But after picking it up, she realized something was wrong. There was still beer in the beer bar, it wasn't empty. She quickly put it down. But her actions were clearly seen by Xie Yufeng. Yufeng was furious and pointed at She, "Little bitch, what are you doing?" "I'm sorry. I thought it was an empty can." She quickly apologized to Yufeng. This had happened before, but She could only swallow it. After all, she was here to pick up trash, so it was her responsibility. Some tourists were unreasonable, but She couldn't do anything about it. "Sorry. Sorry is enough? Fuck, I'm so unlucky." Yufeng was happily eating, a mouthful of meat and a mouthful of beer. But She almost took the beer away. Although he put it down in the end, looking at She's dirty face, could the beer still be drinkable after she touched it? With that in mind, Yufeng picked up the half-empty can of beer that She touched and threw it at She, causing the beer to spill all over She's body. The old man beside She wasn't spared either. He was also drenched in beer. "Kid, you should forgive people when you can. Don't you think you're going a bit too far?" The old man frowned as well. He didn't think that Yufeng would be this arrogant. He'd had some conflicts with other people when he was picking up trash, but they just scolded him a little and let it go. Yufeng didn't do this, pouring beer all over other people's bodies. "Too far? Old man, let me tell you, if she wasn't a little girl, I'd have slapped her in the face if it were you." This was already considered light. What the hell was that? How dare you meddle in other people's business? Xie Yufeng was humiliated by Lin Yi, and then he was beaten up by Iron Fist Wu and extorted a large sum of money from him. Naturally, he was in a bad mood. He wanted to find someone to vent his anger on. And these two scavengers came to him. She was indeed very pretty, on par with Meng Yao and the others, but she was wearing tattered clothes and a straw hat, which made her look less attractive. What was Xie Yufeng's background as well? The young master of House Yu. In his eyes, people like She were the lowest of the low. So what if she was pretty? Even if it looked good, he wouldn't bother to do it for free. He felt that it would be a loss of face. If people knew that he, the young master of House Yu, had a girl that picked up trash, wouldn't he be the laughingstock of the other houses? So Xie Yufeng didn't care about the fairer sex. He just wanted to use this as an excuse to vent his anger. "I was going to let this go. But since you're meddling in other people's business, I've changed my mind. Kneel down and kowtow to me and I'll let this go. Otherwise, I'll call the police and arrest you." Xie Yufeng felt much better after saying this. The anger that he had been holding in for so many days was finally released. During this period of time, he was simply too aggrieved, almost suffocating to death. He was the young master of House Yu, and he hadn't even achieved anything yet. How much had he suffered? He couldn't do anything to Lin Yi for now, but this old scavenger dared to talk to him like this? Did he really think that he was a tiger that got bullied by a dog? Call the police? It's not like we're breaking the law. What right do you have to arrest us? She looked at Xie Yufeng unconvinced. She had already apologized, but this guy didn't let it go. He even asked Grandpa Zhu to kneel. Damn it. Picking up trash? You stole my beer, did you think I didn't see it? My two friends here are witnesses, and they can see it clearly. And I'm not afraid to tell you that my fiancée is a police. Do you think she'll believe me or you? Xie Yufeng said proudly. At this point, he had already treated Lingshan as his fiancée. As far as Xie Yufeng was concerned, this was a marriage between two families, and House Song must have notified Lingshan already. Although the two houses weren't officially engaged, the two heads of the houses had discussed it, and it was basically set in stone. There wouldn't be any problems. Next, it would be a matter of whether or not the two of them got along well. As long as the two didn't have too big of a conflict and got along well, the next step would be to discuss the marriage. Unless the two of them didn't see eye to eye with each other, or if there was a bigger conflict, they would consider it. Of course, in many cases, for the sake of face, even if the two of them didn't get along, they would still force the marriage for the sake of the big picture. After all, it was already decided, and if they broke up because of some reason, it wouldn't look good. Grandpa Zhu's eyes flashed coldly. As a mystic late-phase peak spiritual practitioner, he wouldn't have come out to pick up trash if he wasn't asked by the head of the house. But this little young master actually wanted him to kneel down. How could he take it? Yufeng's arrogant attitude had triggered Grandpa Zhu's murderous intent. He decided to teach this arrogant bastard a lesson. If he wasn't afraid of trouble, he would have killed him on the spot. Good, very good. Grandpa Zhu didn't get angry but smiled instead. He reached out to pat Yufeng's body. It looked like he was patting Yufeng's shoulder, but it was actually filled with killing intent. A mystic peak like Grandpa Zhu had a lot of tricks up his sleeve. What he wanted to do was to pour his pure qi into Yufeng's body. Yufeng might be fine right now, but this pure qi would stay in his body for a long time to come, causing him pain all over his body and tormenting him. Of course, this was only for normal people to a master. This little bit of qi could be refined. Linny often used these kinds of tricks, but Linny was much better than Grandpa Zhu. Chapter 1166. They were all hidden. So for normal practitioners, this move could only transfer a limited amount of qi. But Linny was different. Linny could compress qi, which meant that in the same amount of time, Linny could transfer more qi. So the effect of Linny's move was much higher than Grandpa Zhu's. Linny's move could even deal with high-level practitioners. You can refine a little bit of qi, but I'll give you a lot of it. Let's see how you refine it. Even if you can, it's not something that can be done in a day, and if you refine too much of it, you might even go crazy. Wasn't Yao Wang in the same situation? His entire body was covered in needles, and under each needle was the compressed energy sealed by Lin Yi. Unless Yao Wang used all his strength to refine it bit by bit, or he had some miraculous medicine, or he had the help of a master, but Yao Wang didn't have any of that right now. He could only endure the needles every day. He was angry, but there was nothing he could do. But what Grandpa Zhu didn't expect was that when he reached out to transfer the energy into Xie Yufeng's body, an accident happened. Xie Yufeng dodged Grandpa Zhu's palm effortlessly, tilting his body to the side. His eyes were filled with disbelief. Mystic late phase peak? Mystic early phase peak? Grandpa Zhu paused as well. He wanted to teach Xie Yufeng a lesson, but he didn't expect this person to be a master as well. Wasn't this a bit too dramatic? He was just picking up trash at the beach, and he met a mystic class master? Grandpa Zhu was surprised at Xie Yufeng's age, but he was also worried. It wasn't that he was afraid of Xie Yufeng's strength, but that his identity would be exposed. All these years, he'd been following the orders of the head of the house, staying by Qian Shi and her mother's side. He'd never made a single mistake, but now something like this happened. Luckily, Qian Shi didn't understand the division of strength in the martial world, and she wouldn't understand what Xie Yufeng meant. With that thought, Grandpa Zhu calmed down. Young man, apologize to us and we'll let this matter go. Otherwise, Since the other party already knew his strength, there was no need for Grandpa Zhu to speak softly. He directly threatened him in a cold voice. Apologize? Which family are you from? Yufeng wasn't afraid at all. He stared at the old man, thinking that this old man must belong to some family. As long as he said that he was from House Yu, this old man wouldn't dare do anything to him. Which family are you from? Grandpa Zhu frowned. I'm from House Yu. Yufeng said proudly, if you know what's good for you, then scram. Don't get in my way or else House Yu? Which House Yu? Grandpa Zhu asked indifferently. House Yu, haven't you heard of them? The head of the 9 noble houses. Xie Yufeng humphed. I thought it was the hidden House Yu, but it's just the common House Yu. Grandpa Zhu said faintly. Since you don't want to apologize, take this. With that, Grandpa Zhu was about to slap him. However, before Grandpa Zhu could slap him, he heard a voice shouting, Wait a minute. Linny, why are you here? Yufeng gritted his teeth, his eyes bloodshot. Master Lin was here again. Yufeng almost spat out blood when he heard this voice. It was already hard enough for him to fight a mystic late phase peak with his early phase peak strength, but Linny suddenly appeared. He had no choice but to hide his strength. Wasn't he just waiting for a beating? But the one who was the most depressed wasn't Yufeng, but Grandpa Zhu. When he heard Yufeng call out Linny's name, He was shocked and quickly retracted his chi. After this period of investigation, he already knew who this Lin Chanshi was. He was just thinking about how to stop Lin from causing trouble. But before he could think of anything, he ran into Lin Yi. The reason why Lin Yi appeared at this time was to test this Grandpaju who was with Chan Shi. As far as Lin Yi was concerned, a mystic late-phase peak master hiding by Chan Shi's side was something unimaginable. A mystic coming out to pick up trash? Unless he had some sort of special hobby or he was crazy. Of course, this Grandpaju didn't look crazy, but it didn't make sense to say that it was a hobby. Lin Yi had never heard of a master with this hobby, unless there was a purpose. With that thought, Lin Yi's eyes focused and walked over. It's nothing, I know this girl, so I'm asking for mercy on her behalf. Let's just forget about this. Lin Yi pointed at Chan Shi, saying that he was asking for mercy. But in fact, he was using an unquestionable tone, making Yufeng unable to refute. Yufeng knew that this wasn't the time to be enemies with Lin Yi, and he had to give face to Lin Yi, so he took the chance and said, since you're Lin classmate's friend, then let's forget about this. Okay, you guys continue. Lin Yi said as he pulled Chan Shi to the side. The meaning behind his words was clear. He knew this little girl, but he didn't know this old man. You can continue with this old man. Yufeng paused, but he could clearly feel that the old man in front of him also retracted his chi. This made Yufeng confused. He was afraid that Lin Yi would see through his strength, but this old man was also afraid that Lin Yi would see through his strength? Otherwise, why would he hide his strength the moment Lin Yi came? Grandpaju retracted his gaze and walked towards Lin Yi and Chan Shi, not talking to Yufeng anymore. At this moment, Yufeng was even more certain of his suspicion. This old man was definitely afraid of his strength being exposed. Otherwise, why did this old thing act as if nothing had happened just now when he was still clamoring that he would let him take a slap from him? Yufeng analyzed and came to a conclusion: this old man and Lin Yi had some sort of secret just like him. As if he was on steroids, he got excited and pointed at Grandpaju. Old man, don't go. Didn't you want to hit me? Take a slap from me first. As soon as he finished, he raised his fist and punched the old man's back. Chapter 1167. Chapter 1165. Stupid or Genius. Yufeng was overjoyed as soon as his fist hit the target. As expected, his guess was right. This old man was the same as him, hiding something. He was hiding his strength as well. At the thought of this, Xie Yufeng raised his fist and punched again and again. Without chi, Yufeng could still teach this old man a lesson. Grandpaju was stronger than Yufeng, but under the situation where neither of them used chi, Yufeng had the upper hand. Yufeng was a young man, so he had the upper hand in terms of stamina. Chi aside, Yufeng's physique was far stronger than an old man's, and so Yufeng started beating the old man up. Chan Shi didn't think that Yufeng would start beating people up in the blink of an eye. She jumped in shock. Seeing Lin Yi's surprise and joy, Chan Shi's face turned to worry. Big brother, don't you know that person? Can you stop him from beating Grandpaju? My words might not work. Your Grandpaju was so cocky that he wanted to slap him. He was the one who provoked him. I couldn't do anything about it. Lin Yi said helplessly. But it looks like your Grandpaju has a trump card. He won't get hurt, it'll be fine. Chan Shi didn't really understand what Lin Yi was saying, but Lin Yi's words did make sense. Grandpaju did provoke him first, didn't he? Grandpaju almost spat out blood after hearing Lin Yi's words. If you didn't come, wouldn't I have beaten him up? Why did you come here if you had nothing to do? But Grandpaju felt wronged and he couldn't say it out loud. Yufeng's fists rained down on Grandpaju's face, beating him up. But Grandpaju also noticed a problem. Yufeng didn't seem to be using chi at all. If Yufeng was afraid of hurting him, and didn't use chi after seeing him retract his chi, Grandpaju wouldn't believe it. Yufeng wasn't that kind of person. The only possibility was that the kid was afraid of Lin Yi. It seemed like he did not dare to use his true chi. Thinking of this, Grandpaju let out a sigh of relief. In this way, no matter how he hit, it would only be superficial wounds. He wouldn't be able to hurt his tendons and bones. He would endure it for now. When Linny left, he would come back for revenge. Xie Yufeng, right? Just you wait, if I don't send you to the hospital today, my surname isn't Zhu. Of course, Grandpa Zhu didn't dare to kill Xie Yufeng. After all, he was from the common world's house Yu. What if he caused trouble for the head of the house? Linny wanted Yufeng to test Grandpa Zhu. But seeing that Grandpa Zhu wasn't even fighting back, he was sure that this guy was hiding his strength on purpose, not wanting him to find out. Then there must be something wrong with this person. After all, when Linny came to mediate, it was understandable that Grandpa Zhu withdrew his true qi. But now, it seemed that he had been guarding against Linny all along. Chunxi, how's your mom? Linny turned to Chunxi. She's a lot better after drinking the medicine. Chunxi's eyes flashed with happiness when she mentioned her mom. Her mom's condition was improving, and this was her biggest wish. Thank you, Linny bro. Haha, it's nothing, it's nothing. Linny looked at Grandpa Zhu deeply, but he couldn't ask Chunxi face to face right now. He'd have to wait for a chance later. Xiao Xiao saw Chunxi and quickly walked over. Chunxi saw her and greeted her. Xiao Xiao sis. After the greeting, Chunxi's eyes turned back to Yufeng and Grandpa Zhu. Yufeng evidently didn't plan on letting Grandpa Zhu go. He was pissed off. He'd been holding it in for too long, hiding his strength and getting beaten up by people who weren't as strong as him. But now Yufeng was finally feeling good. Old thing, you're hiding your strength too? Don't you feel good getting beaten up by someone who's weaker than you? But it didn't matter if Grandpa Zhu felt good or not. Yufeng felt really good. It was a sense of accomplishment. A sense of accomplishment that he'd been holding back for so long. Now he felt like he'd swapped roles with the person who bullied him. This old man was probably feeling the same way he was before, right? He couldn't use his strength, waha. Yufeng was getting more and more excited as he fought. He wanted to return all the pain he'd been through to this old man. Xiao Xiao, let's go. Linny didn't want to stay any longer. It didn't matter who this old man was, or if he was good or bad. At least he wasn't hostile towards Chunxi right now. Linny didn't have to worry about Chunxi being in danger. He believed that once he left, the situation would change. Yufeng would go from being the one hitting people to being hit. Linny, why didn't you stop Yufeng? Xiao Xiao paused. She didn't expect Linny to just leave like that. She was confused. Let's go back. Linny gave Xiao Xiao a look and pulled her back. Xiao Xiao didn't understand what Linny meant. But with Lin Yi's intelligence, there had to be a reason. She didn't say anything and just looked at Chunxi before leaving with Lin Yi. On the other side, Meng Yao Yushu and Tang Yun didn't like Yufeng beating up an old man. But what surprised them was that Lin Yi didn't care at all. Meng Yao wanted to say something, but Yushu looked at Grandpa Zhu and then at Yufeng. She pulled Meng Yao. Yao Yao, shield bros in the car. Let's go. I want to go home. Tang Yun wanted to say something as well. But seeing that Xiao Xiao didn't say anything, she didn't either and got in the car. It wasn't until Linny started the car and drove away that Xiao Xiao spoke her mind. Linny honey, why did you let Yufeng beat up that old man? Is that so? If Yufeng really wanted to, the old man would have been dead already. Linny smiled. Xiao Xiao blinked, not understanding what Linny meant. Yushu, on the other hand, slapped her forehead. That old man is a master too. But he probably hid his strength in front of Shield Bro. Linny looked back at Shu a little surprised. He didn't expect her to be right. Chapter 1168. The situation reversed. Linny didn't know the reason behind it, but since Yushu didn't want to talk about it, Linny wouldn't proactively ask. After all, it might be related to other people's privacy. Yushu's words made Xiao Xiao pause. She felt that the old man was a bit suspicious, but she didn't think that he was hiding his strength. But now that Yushu said it, it made sense. Before Linny walked over, the old man did force Yufeng to apologize. If it was a normal trash picker, the first thing they would do in front of an arrogant young master like this would be to apologize over and over again. They wouldn't even have the intention to fight back, right? But this old man did, and he was very calm, as if he was very powerful. But after Linny walked over, the situation flipped. The old man withered instantly, turning around and leaving without saying a word. This proved that although the old man was withered, he was still a person with strength. He still had his pride, so even if he left, he wouldn't say anything soft. Tang Yun and Meng Yao, on the other hand, remembered that Yufeng purposely hid his strength in front of Linny and got beaten up by those gangsters. Could it be that today's incident was the same as well? Linny smiled and stopped the car not far away. Shu's right, but right now it's probably that old man beating Yufeng up, right? Shu brought a complete set of equipment this time. She even brought binoculars with her. So they took out the binoculars from the trunk and looked at the beach. Sure enough, they saw a shocking scene. Yufeng was having so much fun beating him up that he didn't even notice that Linny had left. He finally found the balance in his heart, and all the frustration he had accumulated over the past few days was finally released. So what if you're a mystic late phase peak? Didn't you still get beaten up by me, a mystic early phase peak? And I didn't even use a bit of chi, I was using my bare fists to beat you up. But it didn't take long for Yufeng to feel as if he was punching a metal block. The next moment, Yufeng realized that the old man was gathering his chi again. And this time, the old man went berserk and sent a palm towards Yufeng. Yufeng was shocked. He didn't expect the old man to reveal his true strength after hiding it for so long. What was going on? Did he not want to hide anymore? Yufeng looked around subconsciously. Where was Linny? Linny had already left. The next moment, beads of cold sweat formed on Yufeng's forehead. Why did Linny leave? I haven't had enough yet? Even if you're leaving, you should at least let me know, right? I'll go with you. Now that you're gone, this old man will recover his strength. Isn't this a trap for me? Yufeng wanted to run, but before he could do so, he was heavily injured by Grandpa Zhu. Ah! Yufeng screamed and subconsciously channeled his chi, but he was only a peak early phase mystic class. How could he be a match for a peak late phase mystic class? There was a difference of a few levels between them. This Grandpa Zhu didn't want to kill Yufeng, and so it became a one-sided abuse. Old Zhu almost went crazy with anger. You're just a peak early phase mystic class and you dare hit me? If it weren't for the fact that I was afraid of being discovered by Linny, I would have sent you to the hospital already. You didn't beg for mercy, and you still dare to do this to me? And so, now that the tables had turned, how could old Zhu let Yufeng go? If he didn't send Yufeng to the hospital, his surname wasn't Zhu. Chen Shi, who was watching from the sidelines, was dumbfounded. What was going on? Grandpa Zhu, who was just getting beaten up, suddenly turned from the one being beaten to the one being beaten up? Wasn't this change a little too fast? Little bastard, didn't you beat me up? Aren't you fierce? Let's see if you can still do it now. Old Zhu was infuriated. You're just a disciple of the common world's Houseu, and you're acting like this? If you're stronger than me, then I won't say anything if you beat me up. It'll be my bad luck. But you're so weak and you're still acting like this? Do you want to die? Spare me, Grandpa, spare me, I was wrong. Yufeng gave in immediately, not even thinking of fighting back. He was a mystic class, but he was only a peak early phase mystic class. While old Zhu was a peak late phase mystic class, the difference was too big, and Yufeng didn't dare fight back. If it was Lin Yi, he could rely on his practitioner's arts and pure qi to fight against Yufeng. But Yufeng's strength came from the accumulation of elixirs and elixirs. As a direct descendant of Houseu, he was naturally the focus of the family's nurturing, and so his martial arts were mostly accelerated. He lacked battle experience, so how could he be an opponent for an old man like old Zhu? It was wise of him not to fight back, but if he did, he'd be in a worse state. Right now, Yufeng was using his qi to protect his vitals, and old Zhu didn't want to kill him. Yufeng looked like he was heavily injured, but his meridians weren't damaged, only his bones and tendons were injured. He'd be fine after lying in the hospital for a while. Yufeng didn't think that he'd be so unlucky today as expected. Seeing Linny was his unlucky day. The Miss Shu, Tang Yun and Xiao Xiao exchanged binoculars as they looked at Yufeng's pitiful state. They couldn't help but laugh out loud. Linny was right, the one getting beaten up was Yufeng. After beating Yufeng up, old Zhu was afraid that the police would come, so he turned around and pulled the shock Chunxi away, quickly leaving the scene. Yufeng's two followers, Penghu and Songming, naturally didn't dare block their way. They weren't old Zhu's opponents, so it didn't matter if they left. The most important thing was to get Yufeng to the hospital. It seemed like Yufeng's injuries weren't light, and if they were late, he'd be in danger. Old Zhu wasn't afraid of anything, and he didn't believe that Yufeng would call the police. Young masters of noble houses rarely called the police, and Yufeng was hiding his strength, so he couldn't tell anyone about it. With his strength, he didn't need to worry about it being exposed. If Yufeng revealed it, then it was the same as revealing his true strength. He didn't know why Yufeng was hiding it, but old Zhu didn't need to know, as long as he knew he was fine. You're tuning in to the Li Mei Sword of Destiny YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.